Chapter 216. That night, the plane the two took landed smoothly at Zhonghai International Airport. It was reasonable to say that after such an exciting trip, Yang Cheng should feel mentally and physically exhausted. However, the moment the plane landed, Yang Cheng felt full of energy. It had been almost a year since he returned to China and had been staying in Zhonghai. So many memorable things had happened in this land. Now, it could be said that his home was here. When he was outside, he didn't feel much, but once he returned here, he couldn't help but miss that small home and the people at home. When they walked to the parking lot, Mo Qianyi took her luggage from Yang Cheng's hands. Under the dim light, she looked at Yang Cheng with a pitiful expression. "You're not allowed to ignore me as soon as you get home. You have to think of me all the time. My dear lady, you don't care about me, so how can I ignore you? Besides, I can't control my dreams when I sleep. How can I think of you all the time?" Yang Cheng said with a smile. "Can't you say something nice to coax me?" Mo Qianyi said unhappily. Yang Cheng thought for a moment. "Why don't you not go back? Let's go get a room. This way, I promise I'll think of you all night and stare at you. Besides, our mom is anxious to have a child. Don't even think about it. I'll wait until you've settled the issue with the Empress and confirmed your status. Before that, I won't foolishly send myself up." With that, Mo Qianyi flirtatiously threw him an encouraging wink, swayed her perky buttocks, and walked towards a red Audi. Yang Cheng secretly thought that these women weren't easy to deal with. He smiled helplessly and turned to the place where he parked his car. Half an hour later, Yang Cheng drove the BMW that he hadn't used for many days back to the Dragon Garden Villa. It was almost 12 o'clock at night. Because there was no special notice, Yang Cheng thought that the two women at home were already asleep. However, the lights were still on. Yang Cheng parked the car curiously. Just as he was about to enter the door was open from the inside. "Miss, you're finally back." The one who came out was Mother Wang in her pajamas. But when she took a closer look, she was surprised to see Yang Cheng, who was covered in dust and was pulling a suitcase. "Son-in-law, you're back. Look at me, I'm dazzled." Wang Ma creased her brows as she said with a smile, while urging Yang Cheng to quickly enter. "Why didn't you inform me before coming home? I could have saved some food for you, young master. You must be hungry. Dinner on the plane doesn't taste good. Do you want to make a bowl of noodles for the young master now?" "No, I'm not hungry." Yang Cheng was used to his mother Wang's constant concern. He asked curiously, "Hasn't Ruoshi returned home yet?" Lin Ruoshi's life was very regular, especially on the days when she went to work. She would go to work early in the morning and go home after work. She would work until around 10 o'clock at night and then go to bed. She didn't have many friends, and some of her friends were also busy people. Other than watching TV and reading books, they basically didn't do anything else for entertainment. So, Yang Cheng was very surprised that Lin Ruoshi didn't return home so late at night. Mother Wang nodded worriedly. "Yes, Miss received a call after dinner tonight. It said that an investor from Singapore had landed in Zhonghai for one night and was considering a big business cooperation with the company. Originally, it was for someone else to discuss these things. Miss never participated in these social activities. But Miss Mo, who is the best in this area, went back to your hometown with you. She's not in Zhonghai, and other people are not suitable. Besides, everyone is off work, so it's impossible to suddenly call someone else to replace her. So Miss can only go by herself. But it's so late. Why isn't she back yet?" Yang Cheng frowned and sensitively felt that something was wrong. He asked, "Mother Wang, did you call to ask?" "I couldn't get through. Maybe she's discussing business." Miss turned off her phone. Mother Wang said, "Did Ruoshi say where she went?" Yang Cheng asked. Mother Wang carefully recalled, "It should be the Emperor Building. I remember Miss mentioned on the phone. As for which floor, I don't know." Yang Cheng nodded, put down his luggage, and turned to leave. "Hey, young master, you just came home. Where are you going?" Mother Wang asked anxiously. Yang Cheng said without turning his head, "I'm going to find Ruoshi. I'm worried that something happened to her." But young master, how are you going to find her?" Mother Wang said worriedly. "I have my ways," Yang Cheng said and directly ran out of the door. Yang Cheng didn't think that this kind of big business was normal. Moreover, Lin Ruashi's mind wasn't that of a simple little girl. She looked cold and pure, but her thinking was very meticulous. She would never believe the other party's words without any reason. There were only two possibilities for Lin Ruashi to go out alone at night to discuss business. First, the other party was absolutely decent, and there was no need to doubt him. Second, the other party's disguise had reached the peak. Lin Ruashi couldn't distinguish his true face. Obviously, the latter was more difficult, but it didn't mean that it didn't exist. As a woman with tens of billions of dollars and such an outstanding appearance, it was completely reasonable for the latter to tear off the precious shell of a hypocrite. He rushed all the way to the Emperor building. It wasn't his first time here, so he was familiar with the road. When Yang Cheng walked to the entrance of the building, two security guards immediately surrounded him. Since the building was open 24 hours a day, the security guards were constantly guarding. At this moment, Yang Cheng had just returned from a foreign place. His hair was greasy and messy. He was wearing a thin black and gray coat with some stains that hadn't been wiped off. He was wearing a pair of flat shoes stained with dust. There was a lot of sweat on his face. He looked like an old farmer. Therefore, the two security guards did not hesitate to block in front of Yang Cheng. After all, the Emperor building wasn't a place that ordinary migrant workers could enter. "Sir, please leave here. Those who are disheveled and have poor hygiene standards are not allowed to enter the building," a security guard said expressionlessly. Yang Cheng looked up. It was a 10-story building. To find Lin Ruashi was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Not to mention that he wasn't familiar with the inside. After thinking about it, it seemed that there was only one fastest way. Thinking of this, Yang Cheng asked the two security guards, "Do you have surveillance video? Or the entry and exit registration system? Let me see. I want to find someone." "Sir, I hope you don't disturb our work. We have spoken to you as politely as possible. Please leave." The security guards were a little unhappy. This person is so poor that he's crazy. How can he be my leader with this appearance? He even came to search people? Yang Cheng shook his head helplessly. "Then I can only say sorry. I could have solved it more politely." After that, Yang Cheng suddenly stepped forward and grabbed the two security guards by their necklines. He directly lifted and threw the two security guards' bodies, which added up to more than 300 pounds, directly into the indoor spring not far away. Walla walla! Two splashes of water could be heard. The two security guards who were suddenly thrown into the water began to shout wildly, "Someone come quickly! Someone come quickly! Someone wants to barge in." Many security personnel and customer service personnel around immediately became nervous. Several security guards rushed forward and surrounded Yang Cheng. A woman who looked like the lobby manager began to call the police. Yang Cheng laughed in his heart. "Call the police? It's better to call the police. Everyone, I'm here to find my wife. If you don't want to get hurt, then let me through. Otherwise, although I won't kill, it's inevitable to get a little injury," Yang Cheng said as he walked in the direction of the stairs. He naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to take the elevator. Once the switch was turned off, he would be locked inside. Several security guards naturally wouldn't compromise. They rushed forward one after another, trying to stop Yang Cheng. However, Yang Cheng threw the security guards into the pool in the hall without any fancy moves. The building workers and guests in the hall were so shocked that they didn't dare to move. There were a lot of security guards in the Emperor building. As Yang Cheng walked, he dealt with the security guards who were holding electric batons at any time. Even if he was occasionally shocked, it was like scratching an itch. He wasn't afraid at all. When he walked to the stairs, Yang Cheng looked at the floor of the workshop. It was on the second floor. Therefore, he quickly went upstairs and began to look for the video surveillance room. When he came to the corridor on the second floor, Yang Cheng glanced around and immediately captured the door at the top. It was the room where the security guards were monitoring, so he quickly walked over. The movement downstairs had alarmed the guests of the entire building. The building's security guards swarmed to the second floor and began to madly obstruct Yang Cheng. After Yang Cheng opened the door of the surveillance room, he locked the door from the inside. This kind of metal door wouldn't be broken by people outside for a while. After Yang Cheng dealt with the two security guards who were drinking coffee in the room, according to the time provided by Mother Wang, He roughly estimated the time when Lin Ruoshi arrived at the Emperor building. Then he adjusted all the videos to that time period and began to scan all the pictures by himself. Outside the door, the crazy security guards got the spare key from somewhere and finally opened the door. Then a group of people poured in like a tide. At this time, Yang Chung happened to capture the moment when Lin Ruoshi, who was wearing a black professional suit, entered the building. He was happy in his heart, but when he saw a group of people rushing up, he was secretly annoyed. Relying on his hearing, he looked at the video screen while his hands dealt with the security guards who were close to him. Occasionally, a few security guards were unconsciously injured by Yang Chung. Their ribs were broken on the spot, and they lay on the ground crying for their parents, which scared the other security guards. This helped Yang Chung track Lin Ruoshi's route. After about 3 minutes, Yang Chung finally locked in. Lin Ruoshi entered the food and beverage department on the 27th floor, a private room called Night. At this time, the siren of a police car came from downstairs. Yang Chung knew that the police would arrive soon, so he didn't wait any longer. He waved to a group of frightened security guards and jumped out of the surveillance room. He entered directly from the stairs and quickly ran to the 27th floor. Chapter 217. All the way up to the 27th floor, Yang Chun couldn't even count the number of security guards that he had thrown down or kicked down. Some of them were even the customers' bodyguards. Yang Chun kicked all of them to the ground without any regard for the consequences. The 27th floor was a business room, and the corridor was empty, but because the chaotic information downstairs had spread here, many private black bodyguards stood at the door, strictly on guard. Under the vigilant gazes of the bodyguards along the way, Yang Chun quickly found the second last private room, called Night. At the door stood 2 tall and sturdy bodyguards with unkind expressions. This time, Yang Chun couldn't be bothered to waste his breath. Without waiting for the 2 bodyguards to ask, he directly punched each of them. The speed of his punches simply wasn't something the 2 bodyguards could predict, let alone block it. The 2 of them instantly held their stomachs as they powerlessly fell to the ground. Bang! Yang Chung lifted his leg and kicked on the locked and exquisite security door. The electronic lock directly activated the alarm system, but the sharp sound seemed so weak. The situation in the private room immediately came into view. Beside the bright table lamp by the window, 2 people were sitting. One of them was Lin Ruoshi, who had a startled look on her face, and the other was a middle-aged man in a purple suit. The middle-aged man's black hair was neatly combed to the back of his head, and there were faint age spots on his face. It could be seen that his real age was older than it looked. Seeing Yang Chung break in, the man sat still and frowned. At this time, from another suite, another 2 burly bodyguards rushed out and nervously blocked in front of Yang Chung. Lin Ruoshi finally confirmed that the man who suddenly rushed in like a bandit was Yang Chung. At this moment, Yang Chung looked dirty because of fighting and running, and he looked even more unbearable. His hair was disheveled, his face was sweaty, and his body was even stained with some other people's blood. Standing in the door with a gray and black coat, he looked like a real street ruffian and the kind that just finished a gang fight. "Who are you?" the man in the purple suit asked in a deep voice. Yang Chung ignored him and carefully looked at Lin Ruoshi. Seeing that she was just a little frightened and her whole body was normal, he felt a little relieved. When Lin Ruoshi saw that Yang Chung was actually smiling at her, she could no longer suppress her anger. She suddenly stood up and questioned, "Yang Chung, what are you doing? Does Miss Lin know this man?" The purple-clothed middle-aged man asked with a frown. Lin Ruoshi rubbed her forehead, feeling a headache coming on. She turned around and said apologetically, "Mr. Gao, I'm sorry for causing you trouble. Miss Lin, this young man seems to care a lot about you. Is he your—" Mr. Gao looked at Lin Ruoshi inquiringly. Lin Ruoshi was stunned for a moment. She glanced at Yang Chung, who was still standing at the door with a silly smile on his face. She sighed in her heart and said, "He's an employee of my company. I don't know why he suddenly went crazy." "Staff went crazy?" Yang Cheng's smile became a little bitter, but he didn't care too much. After all, Lin Ruoshi had been here for almost 4 hours. Seeing that she was safe and sound, Yang Chung was still very happy. As for Lin Ruashi's evaluation of him, he didn't care too much about it for now. Mr. Gao had a look of realization. He raised his eyebrows and said, "Miss Lin, tonight I temporarily landed in Zhonghai because of my friendship with the old CO. I told Miss Lin about the cooperation with France's Chebly Group. I ignored the other big companies in Yinjing and came to you first. Your employees' behavior makes me feel very sad. I really can't imagine why a big company like Yulei International would have such an employee. Mr. Gao, I apologize on his behalf. He's not like that usually. I don't know why today." Lin Ruashi's thoughts were a mess. What was this man thinking? Why did he suddenly come back without saying a word? If he came back, then so be it. I was in the middle of a business meeting. Why did he suddenly barge in like this? From the looks of it, all the alarms downstairs and the chaotic noises were all caused by him. Oh my God, what kind of person was this? He broke into the entire building alone? Was it just to kick the door open and stand in front of me with a silly smile? But at this moment, two policemen suddenly appeared at the door. They shouted, "Don't move," and raised their guns and aimed at Yang Chung from behind. Lin Ruashi's beautiful eyes widened. She couldn't believe it. This guy even provoked the police? A slim policewoman walked in from the door. Under her short black hair, her pretty face was full of anger. Going out on a mission so late at night and causing such a big commotion, anyone on duty would be unhappy. Let me see which deity descended to earth. The policewoman walked to the front. When she saw Yang Chung, she suddenly froze on the spot. "Bureau Chief Kai, you came pretty fast." Yang Chung retracted his gaze and said to Choi Yun with a smile. Ever since that frightening night in the building, Choi Yun hadn't seen Yang Chung again. But these days, she didn't know why she kept thinking about the scene of that night. Especially the scene where Yang Chung pushed her away and rushed up alone to block the group of gangsters. This made Choi Yun always have the urge to run to Yang Cheng's house to take a look. This made Choi Yun feel even more tormented. Now, she really did see Yang Chung, but it was in such an awkward situation. She was here to catch him. Yonyan. When Lin Ruashi saw that the person who came was Choi Yun, she slightly on sheen. She walked forward and said, "Can you think of a way? This guy seems to have lost his mind today. For my sake, can you let him go? I'll help him pay for the things that were damaged and other expenses." "Ruashi, you're here too?" Choi Yun was a little surprised. But when she thought that they were husband and wife, her heart ached a little. Although she didn't know why Yang Chung would do this, Choi Yun very much agreed with Lin Ruashi's way of doing things. For her to kidnap Yang Chung like this, the always impartial Choi Yun suddenly felt that she couldn't do it. However, Mr. Gao, who stood up from his seat, seemed to have no intention of letting Yang Chung go. He tidied up his special purple suit and said, "Officer, my surname is Gao, and I'm from the Singapore Chamber of Commerce. I'm very dissatisfied with this man's sudden intrusion. His behavior has seriously harmed my personal safety, and he is suspected of stealing trade secrets. I hope you can arrest him according to the law. The law should uphold justice." This, Choi Yun frowned. She didn't think that there would be such a person in the room. When Lin Ruashi heard that Mr. Gao insisted on sending Yang Chung to trial, she couldn't help but feel a little anxious. "Mr. Gao, he definitely didn't mean to hurt you, and he wouldn't steal trade secrets. Please believe me and let me handle this, okay? Miss Lin, I hope you can understand. Tonight, when I landed at Zhonghai Airport, it wasn't just to treat you to a meal and have a chat. I seriously hope that your company can become our partner and join forces with a famous international company. I'm full of sincerity, but I'm treated like this. I can't disregard my own reputation," Mr. Gao said with righteous indignation. Clap, clap, clap. Just after Mr. Gao finished speaking, Yang Chung suddenly laughed evilly and clapped his hands. "Well said. We can't disregard our own reputation. Why, Mr. Intruder, do you think I'm wrong?" Mr. Gao frowned and asked. "Yang Chung, don't say anything. Don't you think this matter hasn't been blown out of proportion?" Lin Ruashi was about to go crazy. Although this guy was despicable, but she couldn't just watch him go to jail, endangering the safety of the Singapore Chamber of Commerce members, breaking into Zhonghai's largest financial club at night, attempting to steal trade secrets. These charges, no matter which one, were enough to make Yang Cheng suffer. Yang Cheng couldn't deny it and smiled. He suddenly turned around and said to Choi Yun, "Bureau Chief Kai, can I trouble you to check this room?" "Check the room?" Choi Yun was still anxious. Yang Cheng's words made her feel strange. "That's right. Use your professional knowledge and skills to check the television, bedside lamp, and curtains," Yang Cheng said. As soon as he finished speaking, Choi Yun seemed to understand something and nodded solemnly. Mr. Gao's face gradually turned pale. Lin Ruoshi didn't know what Yang Cheng wanted to do, but seeing Choi Yun's serious expression, she guessed that there was something up. She could only stand there patiently and watch as Choi Yun went to check the bedroom. What a joke. The police actually listened to the intruder. Looks like I have no reason to stay here anymore. Let's go. Mr. Gao seemed to be impatient. He snorted angrily and planned to leave with the two bodyguards. "Stop them." Choi Yun suddenly commanded the two police officers to block the door and aimed their guns at Mr. Gao and the other two. "What are you doing? Do you know who I am?" "I am Gao Guoxiong, the Secretary General of the Singapore Chamber of Commerce. Even your mayor has to be courteous to me. You dare to stop me?" Mr. Gao yelled. Choi Yun sneered and walked in front of Mr. Gao. "It doesn't matter who you are, but as you said, the law should uphold justice, and what I have in my hand is your justice." Then, Choi Yun opened her palm. In her white palm, there were 3 pocket-sized cameras specially used for secret filming. "You are slandering me. That thing isn't mine." Mr. Gao exploded in anger and cursed loudly. "Tsk tisk." Yang Cheng shook his head and sighed. "I didn't even say anything to you, but you are already so agitated. It's a pity that I've already learned this trick of yours before my hair was fully grown." The sudden change in the situation made Lin Ruoshi, who was still confused about the situation, suddenly realize what was going on. Lin Ruoshi's face instantly froze. Just now, she had been begging Mr. Gao for mercy on behalf of Yang Cheng, but the one who was truly shameful was the person she was begging. She felt a strong sense of humiliation. "Gao Guoxiong, I'll see you in court." Lin Ruoshi didn't want to stay a moment longer. She turned around and ran out of the room, even forgetting to put her bag on the table. Yang Cheng walked to the table and picked up Lin Ruoshi's bag. He said to Choi Yun, who didn't know what to do, "If I didn't guess wrongly, we can detect hallucinogens on his body or in the drinks in the room. What happens next will be easy. Bureau Chief Kai, I'll have to trouble you." "I got it. Hurry and go see Ruoshi. She has always been strong since she was young. This time, she was tricked by this starred. She must be very sad now. I'll get my team members to accompany you. That way, no one will stop you," Choi Yun said with a bitter smile. Yang Cheng nodded and, accompanied by a police officer, quickly left the room. As for how Gao Guoxiong would end up, it wasn't something he was willing to care about. Chapter 218. Along the way downstairs, the management of the building was very angry at the appearance of Yang Cheng, but with the mediation and explanation of the police officers, they finally did not cause any more trouble. Yang Cheng walked out of the building, and after a few steps, he saw Lin Ruoshi walking in the direction of the parking lot. The lights from the outside of the building shone on her black business suit, giving off a faint silver glow. The lines of Lin Ruoshi's graceful figure were blurred and beautified to the extreme. Yang Cheng quickly caught up and put a white Hermes leather bag in front of Lin Ruoshi. "You didn't even take your bag and you didn't have the car keys, so why did you drive?" Lin Ruoshi turned her head and took the bag. "Thank you. It seems that you've suffered a big blow, and you actually said thank you to me," Yang Cheng said with a smile. "Didn't I tell you before?" Lin Ruoshi turned her head and asked uncertainly. Her eyes were slightly moist, and she looked a little sad. Yang Cheng thought carefully. "I don't really remember. Maybe I didn't, but maybe I forgot. But I don't remember saying it." The two walked through the outer street and entered the parking lot. A cool breeze blew through the quiet parking lot, bringing a trace of coldness. There was no one around, and the two could even hear each other's breathing. Lin Ruoshi hesitated for a moment and suddenly said softly, "I'm sorry, I was wrong about you just now." Yang Chung scratched his head and said bitterly, "Can you not say thank you and sorry to me? I feel uncomfortable, and I'm not used to it." Lin Ruashi stopped and said apologetically, "Was I very unreasonable, harsh, and not giving you face when I spoke to you before? Why do you say that? For example, if you asked me not to say thank you to you before, I would say that you were cheap." Lin Ruashi said seriously. Yang Chun hummed an acknowledgement before asking, "Then am I really despicable?" "Yes, you are very cheap," Lin Ruashi said. Seeing that Yang Chung had nothing to say, Lin Ruashi asked in confusion, "When did you come home? How did you know I was here?" Yang Chung said casually, "I got off the plane an hour ago. When I got home, you weren't there. Mother Wang said that you've been out for a while. I was worried, so I came to see you." "That's simple." Lin Ruashi was slightly surprised and asked, "Just because of such a small reason, you rushed into the Emperor building in the middle of the night, made a mess of the entire building, and even attracted the police?" Yang Chung laughed strangely and said, "Then why do you think I did it? The facts have proven that my guess is correct. Didn't you just happen to run into an ingrate? I'm also surprised that Gao Guoxiong would suddenly do this. I was wrong to trust him. But aren't you afraid that your guess is wrong? If that's the case, you're the one being arrested by the police now. There will be a lot of people who will sue you. Do you know how serious the consequences will be?" Lin Ruashi said with some excitement. "I know, but I have to do this," Yang Chung said. Looking at Yang Cheng's calm eyes, Lin Ruashi felt a little inexplicable and asked why. "Because you're my wife. I'm worried," Yang Chung said straightforwardly. Lin Ruashi felt that a string in her heart was gently tickled. It made her a little bit happy, a little bit confused, a little bit shy, and a little bit moved. In a trance, the face of the man in front of her, which was not considered outstanding, became a lot more gentle and kind. However, because of this, Lin Ruashi suddenly felt particularly resentful for the words she said in the private room just now. She tentatively asked, "Just now in the private room, I said that you're my staff, and I said that you're crazy. Are you very angry?" "I can't say that I'm angry." Yang Chung walked slowly and said, "I can only say that I'm a little helpless, but I can understand. Anyone who saw my actions at that time wouldn't be able to understand." The more indifferent Yang Chung looked, the more guilty Lin Ruashi felt. After a moment of silence, she said, "In the future, if someone asks me that, I'll tell them that you're my husband." These words made Yang Chung stop walking. He turned around and looked at the shy Lin Ruashi in shock. "What's wrong with you? Didn't you say that it's a secret for now? I feel that this is very unfair to you. Just take it as compensation for me misunderstanding you," Lin Ruashi said softly. Yang Chung didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "My lovely Ruashi baby, the title of husband is not something to be rewarded. I don't need you to use this way to fill up the guilt in your heart. In fact, I don't blame you. If someone asks me who you are to me, I'll also say that you're my boss, not my wife. So, if you really plan to call me husband in front of others, then please say something to me first. What is it? Say that you love me," Yang Chung said solemnly. Lin Ruashi was stunned on the spot. Her expression kept changing. In the end, she finally turned her head dejectedly. "I can't do it. That's right. I can't say it, so we don't need to be entangled in this matter. Today, I did this for you because I want to fulfill my legal responsibility as a husband. As for how many feelings I have in the middle, to be honest, I don't know. So, you don't have to worry too much about it," Yang Chung said with a smile. Although Yang Chung said so, when Lin Ruashi saw Yang Cheng's gray clothes and messy hair, she still felt warm in her heart. Just now, she felt that he was filthy, but because of a different angle, he looked so warm. He was worried about me, so he rushed over as soon as he got home. Although she couldn't tell this man that she loved him, and he wouldn't say that he loved her, but she could feel his concern for her, so Lin Ruashi still felt very satisfied. When she walked to the side of Lin Ruashi's Bentley, Lin Ruashi reached into her purse for the key, but she couldn't find it no matter how hard she tried. "Yang Chung, my key is missing," Lin Ruashi said anxiously. Yang Chung smiled mysteriously and shook his hand. The key of the Bentley was in his hand. "Why did you steal my key?" Lin Ruashi had a bad feeling. Tonight, I would drive your car. Let's go back in the same car. That will make me feel better. Let's improve our relationship and strive to say those 3 words to each other as soon as possible. No need. You return the key to me, Lin Ruashi said as she went forward to grab it. But how could Yang Chung let Lin Ruashi grab it? He circled the car a few times. Lin Ruashi was panting, but she couldn't even keep up with Yang Cheng's back. I won't get in the car you drive. You return the key to me, Lin Ruashi said stubbornly. She didn't want to have nightmares because of the car ride. Yang Chung ignored her. He opened the door, sat in the driver's seat, closed the door, and started the car. Lin Ruashi stood outside the car. She was so angry that she almost stomped her feet like a little girl. She gritted her teeth and glared at Yang Chung. The good impression and warmth that she had just accumulated disappeared. This man is too hateful. Does he think that everyone is as crazy as him, driving more than 200 kilometers per hour in the city? Yang Chung was a gentleman as he helped Lin Ruashi open the door of the front passenger seat. He looked at Lin Ruashi's angry face and said with a smile, "My dear, come in quickly. It's not good to waste gas. If you come out, I will go in." Lin Ruashi refused to compromise. Yang Chung looked at the time in the car. You see, it's already past midnight. The couple has already finished having sex 3 or 4 times. It's time for us to go back. Be good. Don't be angry with your husband. Come in quickly. Lin Ruashi had secretly read some books about sex. She also knew what Yang Chung meant. She blushed and said, "Don't be a hooligan. Get out quickly. Why are you so disobedient? I will count to 3. If you don't get in the car, I will drive away first." Yang Chung threatened. Lin Ruashi coldly snorted and stood motionless outside the car. Yang Chung frowned and began to count. 1, 2, 2 halves, 2 halves of 2 halves, 2 halves of 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 2 halves. Huffed. Lin Ruashi finally couldn't help but laugh. The accumulated depression of the night seemed to have been swept away by Yang Cheng's strange number. You're happy, right? If you're happy, then get in the car. You can't make me count to half of the hundreds of words, right? Yang Chung said with a smile. Lin Ruashi rolled her eyes at him. Although she was nervous, she had no choice but to sit in the car and warned Yang Chung, "Don't drive recklessly. Slowly. Otherwise, I won't sit in your car next time." "Don't worry." Yang Chung didn't intend to race again. Lin Ruashi had suffered enough tonight. He wasn't a playful person. After the car smoothly entered the highway, Yang Chung remembered something and said to Lin Ruashi, "I'm going to a friend's birthday party tomorrow, so I won't go to work. I'm not being lazy by telling you in advance." "Birthday party?" Lin Ruashi said coldly. "It's your woman's birthday." "What friend? You don't have to hide it from me." Yang Chung sighed. "If I really wanted to celebrate a woman's birthday, I really wouldn't tell you. My friend is called Yuan Yi. I don't know if you know him, but he seems to be quite rich." "What? Yuan Yi?" Lin Ruashi seemed to be in disbelief. "That Yuan Yi from the Yuan family?" Yang Chung said uncertainly, "I don't know. Anyway, he's very rich. He drives in our 8 and formed a gaming team. I got to know him through playing games." Lin Ruashi was even more shocked. She suddenly felt that Yang Chung was too bewitching. Did you know that the Yuan family is the strongest family in Zhonghai? Yuan Yi is the only son of the Yuan family. If the Su family represented by Su Jihong were to be placed in front of the Yuan family, it wouldn't even be half of the Yuan family. Is that so? Yang Chung was a little curious. Looks like I have to get closer to that kid in the future. Otherwise, Su Jihong will always be looking for trouble. Lin Ruashi nodded thoughtfully. Yes, you should play more games with Yuan Yi in the future. Try to deepen your relationship with him. Since he likes to make friends with you, then you have to grasp the opportunity. Having a relationship with the Yuan family will be very helpful for your future. No, when we go tomorrow, I'll get someone to bring you a few gifts. When you meet the elders of the Yuan family, you can't be rude, especially Yuan Ye's mother. I heard that she's the daughter of a famous family in Yanjing that's many times more powerful than the Yuan family. You have to prepare carefully and leave a good impression. Hearing Lin Ruoshi suddenly plan all kinds of interpersonal relationships like a calculator, deducing the direction for Yang Cheng's future career, Yang Cheng sighed silently. I just want to play games. Is it easy for me? Chapter 219. Early the next morning, while Yang Cheng was still lying in bed, he received a call from Yuan Yi, a young man who couldn't stand the loneliness. Yang Cheng, are you awake? Yuan Yi was in a good mood. It seemed that celebrating his 20th birthday was a wonderful thing for him. He wasn't the slightest bit depressed that he was about to reach his 30s. Yang Cheng yawned. Can I answer your call when I'm asleep? That's good. I'll personally pick you up later. You won't be able to find my address if you look for it yourself. Yuan Yi said. Yang Cheng indeed didn't know the way to many places. Since the Yuan family was the #1 family in Zhonghai, according to Lin Ruoshi, Yang Cheng could understand why they lived in a special place. Do you know where I live? Yang Cheng asked. I don't know, so I'm calling to ask you. Dragon Guard number 89. Call me when you're here. I'm going to lie down for a while. Yang Cheng said, and was about to hang up. Don't hang up. Yuan Yi laughed. I'm already here. Actually, I just wanted to confirm. Yang Cheng smacked his lips, thought for a moment, and said, It was Tang Tang, that little girl who told you I live here, right? You guessed it. I'll pick you up and then pick up Tang Tang. Her mother is very strict. If no one picks her up, it'll be hard for her to come out alone. Yuan Yi said, taking pleasure in his misfortune. You seem to be very happy. Is it because she won't have the chance to be with other boys and you'll be on Xin? Yang Cheng asked with a light smile. You guessed it. Haha. Hurry up and come down. Although Yang Cheng hadn't met Yuan Yi many times in real life, after playing games and chatting online for a period of time, the relationship between the two had become very familiar. Therefore, Yuan Yi's tone became more relaxed, which made Yang Cheng enjoy it a lot. To be able to make a younger male friend was rather rare. After dressing up, Yang Cheng shaved his beard so that he didn't look too dispirited. Then, he went downstairs. Downstairs, Mother Wang had already prepared breakfast. It happened to be a Western-style sandwich with ham and milk. Yang Cheng casually picked up a sandwich, said goodbye to Mother Wang, and was about to go out. Mother Wang hurriedly called out to Yang Cheng, son-in-law, wait a minute. Are you going to attend young Master Yuan's birthday celebration? Yeah, what's wrong? Mother Wang walked to the side of the stairs with a smile, picked up an exquisite red gift bag from the floor, and handed it to Yang Cheng. This was prepared by Miss last night and sent over this morning. She asked young master to give it to someone later. The favorite things of the Yuan family are all inside. Putting aside the fact that Lin Ruoshi knew what the Yuan family liked, Yang Cheng felt that his wife would be especially motivated when it came to paving the way for her career. Just based on this point alone, Lin Ruoshi could be considered as a representative of traditional women. All right then. Yang Cheng naturally had no reason to refuse. He opened the bag and took a look. Every gift was labeled with a different person's name. It seemed that Lin Ruoshi had already thought it through. When he came out of the house, there was already a white BMW 335 parked by the side of the road. Because Yuan Yi had to pick up 2 people, he wouldn't be driving his flashy Audi R8, which only had 2 seats. Yang Cheng opened the door of the front passenger seat and placed the gift bag in the back seat. Dressed in a well-ironed suit, Yuan Yi, who was already handsome and had an excellent temperament, looked to be in high spirits. Seeing Yang Cheng holding a bag of gifts, he couldn't help but smile and say, I'm not used to seeing you holding a bag of gifts. Why? Can I give a gift? Yang Cheng asked, unhappily. You don't look like someone who cares about these things. I thought you were going to my house empty-handed and were in a hurry to come back. Yuan Yi said honestly. Yang Cheng said seriously. It's prepared by my wife. I can't turn down her good intentions. A young man like you can't understand the responsibility of a married man. Yuan Yi laughed and didn't say anything else. He started the car and drove off. Half an hour later, the two arrived at the courtyard in the western suburbs where Tang Tang lived. The road here was wrapped in dense green, as usual. When they arrived at the door of Tang Tang's house, Tang Tang, who was wearing a black and white Japanese-style short skirt and white stockings, was already standing at the door waiting. Her pure face matched with her cute outfit. She looked like a maid from a rich family in a Japanese manga, except for the maid's scarf on her head. When she saw Yuan Yi driving over, she waved at the two of them. When the empty-handed Tang Tang got into the car, she high-fived Yuan Yi and smiled. Then, Tang Tang angrily said to Yang Cheng, "Uncle, you haven't called me for so many days. If it wasn't for brother Yuan Ye's birthday today, would you have forgotten about me? Why would I call you if there's nothing important? Then are you calling your lover?" "No." "Wait, what lover? What are you talking about?" Yang Cheng pretended to be serious. Tang Tang made a face. "I've seen through you. Uncle, you're the current Wu Qi, Luin, and Chun Shimi. What do they do?" Yang Cheng didn't know much about ancient Huaxia. Yuan Yi explained while driving. Wu Qi and Lu and killed their wives for their own benefit. Chun Shimi abandoned his wife and son. What? Yang Chun was enraged. He flipped over and stretched out his hand, twisting Tang Tang's tender cheeks, and dragged her in front of him. "How can you say such things so casually? Otherwise, why would I call you a little girl? You're still so immature." Tang Tang begged Yang Cheng to let go, but she still shrunk back and giggled. Yuan Yi looked at the rearview mirror and saw Tang Tang's mischievous smile. He shook his head helplessly and asked, "Tang Tang, isn't Annie going?" Tang Tang nodded. "Uh-huh. Mom asked me to send her regards to Uncle Yuan and the others. She went to meet the leaders from Beijing early in the morning." "What a pity. Secretary Fong will be there today." Yuan Yi sighed. "So that's how it is." Tang Tang pouted and said disappointedly, "I think Mom probably knew that Dad was going to go, so she didn't go. I was just thinking, if they suddenly meet some leaders, it would be the same whether those leaders pay attention to them or not. No matter how high the officials are, can they be more influential than Aunt Yuan?" "Who's Auntie Yuan?" Yang Cheng asked curiously. "Yuan Ye's mom?" "Yes, Uncle. Let me tell you, Auntie Yuan is the most powerful person in Brother Yuan Ye's family. Although Brother Yuan Ye's father is the chairman of the Yuan group, his mom calls the shots at home." Tang Tang giggled. "Auntie Yuan has been very nice to me since I was young. Whenever Brother Yuan, you try to snatch fun things from me, Auntie Yuan would help me beat him up." Uncle Yuan didn't dare to say anything at all. "Why is she very fierce?" An image of a female Tyrannosaurus appeared in Yang Cheng's mind. Tang Tang hurriedly shook her head. "No way. Auntie Yuan is very gentle and treats people very well. It's because Auntie Yuan's family is one of the most powerful families in Beijing and even the whole of Huaxia. I remember my mom told me that, but I don't know the details, and Brother Yuan Yi refused to tell me either." Yuan Yi smiled shyly. "It's not that exaggerated. It's that exaggerated. So with Auntie's help, Brother Yuan Yi couldn't bully me even if he wanted when I was young. He was always the one crying because of me." Listening to Tang Tang start to expose Yuan Ye's childhood stories without any filter, bringing out one embarrassing incident after another, Yang Chen couldn't help but grin and felt slightly emotional in his heart. Although a child like Tang Tang definitely had a lot of childhood shadows due to her parents' special relationship, the care and concern given to her by the elders around her was not little. In comparison, his own childhood was like the struggle of a cornered beast. It was not something they could imagine at all. Yuan Ye's face turned red from Tang Tang's pile of revelations. He coughed and said, "Tang Tang, if you talk about 7 or 8 years old, that's about right. Let's not talk about 5 or 6 years old. When I was 5, you were only 3. How could you possibly remember?" "I don't really remember, but Auntie Yuan will tell me." "Brother Yuan Yi, are you shy?" Tang Tang acted as if she had won a small battle. Yuan Yi smiled bitterly and said to Yang Cheng, "Listen, sometimes I really wonder if Tang Tang is my mom's biological daughter, since she has been helping her since she was young and not me." Yang Cheng looked at the couple who were like enemies and said, "Do you two count as childhood sweethearts?" That's how I use the word. Tang Tang's face turned red, and Yuan Yi also looked awkward, but he still had a smile on his lips. The car suddenly became quiet, and the atmosphere was a little ambiguous. Yang Cheng playfully looked back and forth between Tang Tang and Yuan Yi, suddenly feeling that he was very old. For people like them, one was 18 years old, and the other was 20 years old. It was called the prime of their youth. Although he was only 3 or 4 years older than Yuan Yi, compared to them, There seemed to be a huge generation gap. At the very least, when he faced the woman he liked, he wouldn't smile shyly and wouldn't dare to look her in the eyes. Maybe he would have hugged the woman's head and kissed her. At this moment, the BMW drove into a narrow street, and in the direction of the crossroads in front, a heavy truck suddenly appeared. Yuan Yi slammed on the brakes and pressed the horn angrily. This sudden appearance was too dangerous. However, the situation didn't seem to be so simple, because from the intersection behind, a large GMC truck suddenly drove out, closely blocking the back of the BMW. Moreover, from the two trucks in front and behind, 7 or 8 men holding submachine guns, wearing large sunglasses and dressed uniformly in black leather clothes and jeans jumped out. This sudden change of events caused the vehicles and pedestrians on both sides of the street to be in a mess. All of them frantically fled, and the scene was extremely chaotic. In the blink of an eye, 4 men pointed their submachine guns at Yang Cheng and the other 2 in the BMW. One of them wore a boxing glove with steel nails and smashed the driver's door window. Bang! The glass of the car door fell to the ground, and Tang Tang, who was in the car, was so scared that she screamed out, "Drive the car in." The voice was as numb as a machine. The man with the chin up pointed to the big truck in front of him. The huge container behind the big truck had already lowered the iron door at the back. The car only needed to drive to enter the dark container. Although Yuan Yi was a little frightened, he didn't panic. He looked at the expressionless and silent Yang Cheng beside him, sighed, and drove the car into the container. When the car drove into the container, the iron door at the back immediately closed, and the entire interior was pitch black, so dark that one couldn't even see their fingers in front of them. The interior lights of the BMW were turned on. Yuan Yi turned his head to take a look. Seeing that Tong Tong's face was only pale from fright, and that she was safe and sound, he was relieved. "Brother Yuan Yi, how did this happen?" "Uncle, aren't you very powerful? Quickly think of a way. Are they here to kidnap me?" Tang Tang asked with a sobbing tone. Yuan Yi's eyebrows were deeply furrowed, and he couldn't say a word. It seemed that he also couldn't figure it out. Yang Cheng shrugged and sighed with a smile. "I can't believe I encountered such a thing at a birthday party. How I know what they want. We're already in this iron lump, so we'll talk about it after we get out." Chapter 220. The speed of the U.S.-made GMC's truck was astonishing, far surpassing that of ordinary trucks. The huge truck head was wrapped in a thick bumper. After it barged out of the street, it quickly entered the highway. Someone in the local neighborhood called the police and found a group of armed criminals. However, when the police asked for the license plate numbers, the person who called the police realized that the two trucks didn't seem to have license plates. They could only rely on the appearance of large trucks to carry out the search, but the efficiency was pitifully low. After all, it would take a long time to immediately block the highway around the city, not to mention that the resulting traffic congestion and economic losses were definitely not something that the police could easily handle. Inside the large container, after Yang Cheng and the other 2 took out their phones, they realized that there was no signal in the truck at all. This meant that the criminals were quite well-mannered to cut off the communication signal in some way. "What should we do? Where are they taking us? Are they going to kill us in the wild?" Tang Tang was a girl after all. No matter how mischievous she was usually, she was still afraid at a time like this. Yuan Yi comforted her with concern. "Don't be afraid, Tang Tang. I'll protect you. I won't let them hurt you." "How are you going to protect me? Don't you see that they have guns? Are you going to act like a martyr and block the muzzle for me?" Tang Tang said dejectedly. In the dim yellow light, Yuan Yi was silent for a while. Then he said with a burning gaze, "I will. If they really point their guns at you, I'll block in front of you. Even if the bullet hits you, it has to go through my body first." Yuan Yi's words were extremely sincere and clear, as if he was making a promise with his life as the price. It was as generous as when he promised Tong Tong's other small requests. Tang Tang stared at Yuan Yi in a daze for a long time before bursting into laughter. Her fear was swept away. "Brother Yuan Yi, you're too much. Who asked you to cover the muzzle? Besides, why would they do that? They'll only shoot at your body. Won't they shoot your back?" I'm serious. Yuan Yi blushed a little, but he didn't know how to express his true thoughts in a moment of desperation. Tang Tang reached out her white and tender little hand to block Yuan Ye's mouth and made a shush gesture. Don't say such things. It's quite uncomfortable. Yuan Yi was stunned by Tong Tong's sudden, gentle tone, and then he responded softly. Listening to the innocent and touching conversation between the young couple, Yang Cheng sighed. It seemed that his interaction with Lin Ruoxi was not as close as that of a married couple. If they really let us get out of the car and feed us bullets, they'll be considered sympathetic. I'm just afraid that they won't kill us by shooting us, Yang Cheng said. Yuan Yi and Tang Dang asked in confusion. Then what are they doing? For example, they could throw the entire container into the middle of the sea and throw us into it along with the car. Or they could throw a few grenades into the container and blow us up inside. Yang Cheng casually thought of two methods and said, in this case, it's more direct and effective than shooting us. There's no trace of us. Yuan Yi and Tong Tong's scalp went numb when they heard that. Yuan Yi even slapped his thigh. If I knew this would happen, I would have brought more bodyguards with me. I thought driving such an ordinary car wouldn't attract any attention. No, we won't die so easily. They must have other motives for capturing us. Besides, if we disappear, Brother Yuan Yi, your family will look for us once they find out. They won't get away with it so easily. Tang Tang calmed down a little. Yang Cheng asked, how many enemies do your two families have? I've seen Tang Tang being kidnapped and attacked twice. Does your Yuan family have enemies too? Yuan Yi shook his head and said with a frown, if we really want to talk about enemies, then we have a lot of them. Uncle Fang's Fang family and our Yuan family have a lot of people who hate us to the bone in Zhonghai. Even many families from other provinces have grudges with us. But no one dares to have a falling out with us so blatantly. If they really do that, it'll be a life and death struggle. So I also don't understand who would be so impatient to use this method to kidnap us. It's really not easy to be rich. Yang Cheng nodded in understanding. As the three of them discussed, the car finally seemed to stop. After the iron door behind the container was lowered, the few gun-wielding men directed Yang Cheng and the other two to get out of the car. With so many submachine guns pointed at them, the three of them naturally didn't think too much about it. After getting out of the car, they discovered that they were actually surrounded by a small, empty dock. In a coastal city like Zhonghai, there were too many small docks at the estuary, not counting the scattered islands at the estuary. Most of them were already abandoned, but the government's unified planning hadn't been able to close these docks in time. Where is this? Yuan Yi asked Yang Cheng. How would I know? I haven't even been back for a year. Yang Cheng said. A man pointed a gun at Yuan Ye's back. What are you talking about? Let's go. Under the threat of 7 or 8 gun-wielding men, the three of them could only follow them to the unloading warehouse at the side of the dock. There were also many small speedboats docked at the seaside. Obviously, they were well prepared for the sea route. The big iron door of the warehouse was pushed open from the inside. It was also a gun-wielding man. After the three of them walked in, he immediately closed the iron door. He didn't send anyone to stand guard outside. From the outside, it didn't look special at all. Inside the huge warehouse, because of years of disrepair, there was a moldy smell everywhere. The metal was rusty, making people feel that the entire frame would collapse at any time. Yang Cheng discovered that the number of criminals in the entire warehouse was no less than 20 people, and each of them was silent, like well-trained terrorists. They stood in a good position to monitor the entire warehouse. The three of them were led to a corner of the warehouse. The leader pointed a gun at the 3 benches. Sit here obediently and don't move. Otherwise, I'll shoot you. After saying that, the 3 men rushed up and forced Yang Cheng and the other 2 to sit on the benches. They took out 3 sets of handcuffs and handcuffed the 3 of their hands. Yang Cheng didn't resist. He knew that these people were just running errands. The real master would definitely appear later. Moreover, the other party didn't do anything to threaten the 3 of them, so he wasn't in a hurry to make a move. Not long after, the iron door was opened again. A handsome man in a suit and tie walked in. Behind him was a hunchbacked man who was picking his nose as he walked. Yang Cheng took a closer look and was a little surprised. He didn't expect it to be the master and servant, Su Jihong and Harry Ball. That day, Su Jihong and Zheng Xinlin lost everything because of Lin Ruoxi's scheme. The Zheng family withdrew from the hegemony of Zhonghai, and Su Jihong's Donghua technology suffered heavy losses. They completely lost the ability to compete with Yulei in the future. After that, Su Jihong seemed to be a lot more low-key, and no one heard any news about him. Who would have thought that as soon as he appeared, there would be a kidnapping scene on the streets? As Su Jihong and Harry Ball approached, they were evidently astonished as well. Seeing Yuan Yi and Tang Tang was within their expectations, but seeing Yang Chun sitting in the corner was completely out of their expectations. "Mr. Yang, how have you been?" Su Jihong's eyes flashed with many emotions. He said with a fake smile, "I didn't expect Mr. Yang to be invited here as a guest." Yang Chung smiled and didn't say anything. Harry Ball laughed and said, "Boss, looks like this kid is destined to fall in our hands. We didn't want to mess with him, but he was captured by us." "Shut up." Su Jihong frowned and scolded. He turned to Yuan Yi and Tang Tang and said, "Young Master Yuan, Miss Fong of the Fong family, I'm Su Jihong. I believe both of you know who I am." Yuan Yi stared at him angrily. "Su Jihong, your Su family is also a reputable family in Zhonghai. Are you declaring war on the Yuan family and the Fong family by doing this?" No, no, no. Yuan family and Fong family. One is the economic leader, the other is the political giant. Our Su family is sandwiched in between. How would we dare to declare war on your elders?" Su Jihong hurriedly waved his hands to evade. Although Tang Dang had only met Su Jihong a few times, she was very familiar with the big families in Zhonghai. When she saw that the Su family, who had nothing to do with her, suddenly kidnapped her, she screamed, "Su Jihong, you coward! You can't win in the business world, you can't enter the political world either. My father and the others won't let you go." Su Jihong didn't care at all. He sneered and said, "Miss Tang Tang, Mr. Yuan Yi, although it's a little nonsense to tell you this, you don't seem to understand. Since I've come here personally and let you see me, it's obvious that I don't intend to leave a way out." "What do you mean? Are you going to kill us?" Yuan Yi asked anxiously, his body subconsciously moving in front of Tang Tang. Tang Tang saw Yuan Yi's almost instantaneous movement, and tears welled up in her eyes. Su Jihong waved his finger. "Don't make it sound so bad. Actually, I don't like to see blood. Of course, my subordinates might like it. This time, I invited the two of you here mainly because it's young Master Yuan Ye's birthday celebration. The elders of both families will be sitting together, so we don't have to inform them separately. Also, the economy is not doing well recently, and the policies are not very fair to us. So, we plan to take this opportunity to have a good chat with your parents. With the two of you here, I believe the elders of your families will be happy to have a good chat with us." After saying that, Su Jihong sent someone to deliver a strange-looking, specially modified cordless phone. When the call is connected, your elders will definitely have a lot to ask the two of you. At that time, don't just cry. You have to say a few more words. Su Jihong squinted his eyes, his gaze like a sharp blade. Yuan Yi and Tang Dang were not stupid. They immediately understood Su Jihong's general purpose. They stared at Su Jihong fiercely, but they knew that scolding him was a waste of energy. Yang Cheng had some doubts in his heart. Since Su Jihong had already stood up, it was clear that he planned to shed all pretense of cordiality and start a war with the Yuan and Fong families. The reason was nothing more than profit. After being plotted against by Lin Ruoxi, Donghua technology was indeed not doing well. That was why Su Jihong was desperate and took the risk. Yuan Yi was the only son of the Yuan family. For Yuan Ye's safety, it was very likely that the Yuan family would be slaughtered by Su Jihong. Tang Dang implicated even more people. Just her father, who was the secretary of the municipal party committee, had great power. However, if it was just the Su family, then Su Jihong was a little too impatient. After all, after today's incident, there was no turning back. Today, regardless of whether Yuan Yi and Tang Dang were safe or not, he would face the joint attack of the two big families. So, there must be people participating in the cooperation, and their strength was definitely not bad. who would go to the Yuan and Fong families and carry out the activities on the other side. At this moment, the specially modified phone rang. Chapter 221. Su Jihong gestured with his eyes, and Furball immediately put the phone on speaker mode with a grin. A man's slightly restrained voice came from the other side. "Hello, is this Little Yi? Little Yi, how are you?" Hearing the voice from the other side of the phone, Yuan Yi immediately perked up, because it was his father, Yuan Hui's voice. "Dad, I'm fine. Don't worry, I'm fine." "That's good. Is Tang Tang there too?" Yuan Hui asked with concern. "Uncle Yuan, I'm here." "They've handcuffed us," Tang Tang said, glaring at Su Jihong fiercely. The voice on the other side of the phone changed, shouting, "Hello. Tang Tang, it's Dad. Don't be afraid. Dad will definitely save you." "Dad, they've locked us in a... woo, woo woo." Just as Tang Tang was about to say a few words about being locked up at the docks, Furball, who was already prepared, immediately covered Tong Tong's mouth, stabilizing Tong Tong's head, making her unable to speak. Tang Tang wanted to open her mouth and bite, but Furball's hand was dirty and smelly, so she could only hold her breath, not daring to bite. Hee, little girl, food can be eaten indiscriminately, but words can't be said indiscriminately, Furball said with a grin. "Bastard, let go of Tang Tang." Yuan Yu was so angry that his face turned red. On the other side of the phone, Fong Zhongping was enraged. "What did you do to my woman? If you dare to hurt her, I definitely won't let you have a good ending." "Secretary Fong, calm down. We're here to negotiate peacefully. We won't hurt your daughter." Yang Chung furrowed his brows when he heard the slightly weathered voice. Yuan Yi and Tang Dang might not know because they weren't used to dealing with people like that, but Yang Chung had a deep impression of the owner of that voice. It was the head of Dongxing's gangsters, Zhou Guangnian. In this way, everything made sense. Other than Zhou Guangnian, the head of the Dongxing Group, which occupied half of Zhonghai's underworld, and the CEO of the Dongxing Group, which was full of dirty money, no one in Zhonghai would dare to go against the Yuan family and the Fong family like Su Jihong. Zhou Guangnian's trump card was the fact that his underworld forces were deeply rooted. They were definitely not something that could be eliminated immediately with money and the support of the local government. Even if they openly win against the Yuan family and the Fong family, they could use all sorts of means to make the two families pay a price and choose to compromise. "Uncle Fong, don't listen to them. They won't dare to do anything to us," Yuan Yi shouted. Su Jihong sneered and said, "Young Master Yuan, don't be too naive. Since we dared to kidnap you, of course we dare to do something else. I advise you to beg your parents to look down on things like money and power and cooperate with us. That way, you might be able to leave this place earlier." "Su Jihong, how dare you collude with that old bastard, Zhou Guangnian? Your Su family's reputation has been tarnished by you," Fong Zhongping shouted on the other end of the phone. Su Jihong said indifferently, "Secretary Fong, whether the Su family's reputation is tarnished or not, it's not up to you to decide. The winner takes all, and it's not like the Yuan family and the Fong family don't have any shameful pasts. You don't have to talk to me about these big principles. I advise you to stop being so long-winded. Your children are all here with me. If we're not satisfied, we can tie them to lead and throw them into the sea to feed the fish. You won't even be able to find the dregs of your bones. I'm not joking. Chairman Zhou is talking to you personally, and he suggests that you treat him well. That's all I have to say. As for the rest, I'll leave it to you big bosses and officials to do as you see fit. Little Yi, Tang Tang, don't worry. We'll definitely rescue you." Fong Zhongping shouted one last time before the call was cut off. Only then did Harry Ball loosen his hand that was covering Tong Tong's mouth. Tang Tang hurriedly gasped for breath. She was about to suffocate to death. "Boss, old Harry, have already said that this is the way to do great things. Look, it's so much less worrying. Once we kidnap those two brats, anything can be easily discussed, right?" Harry Ball laughed. Su Jihong ignored him and looked at Yang Chung with a ruminating gaze. "Mr. Yang, it's all thanks to you that I've come this far. What does that have to do with me?" Yang Chung curled his lips and asked, puzzled. "If it wasn't for your sudden appearance, I would have long used Lin Kun, that chess piece, to make Lin Ruoshi my woman. Then, I wouldn't have ended up like this, being killed by her cold-blooded knife and forced to take the risk out of desperation. Su Jihong spoke very calmly, but each word was filled with resentment. Anyone could hear it. Yuan Yi and Tang Dang didn't quite understand what Su Jihong meant by his words to Yang Cheng, but they could feel that Su Jihong seemed to be very hostile towards Yang Cheng. Both of them were worried for Yang Cheng. After all, the two of them still had value to be used, and perhaps there wouldn't be any real danger. But Yang Cheng was different. From what they knew, Yang Cheng didn't have any backing. Su Jihong smiled evilly and used a modified phone to dial a number. After the call connected, it rang 3 times before it was picked up. "Hello, Lin Ruoshi of Yulei." Hearing the familiar voice, Yang Cheng frowned. "Ruoshi, this is Su Jihong. I'm here to tell you that your husband, Mr. Yang, will die in a while. But you don't have to collect his body, because you won't be able to find his body." After that, Su Jihong hung up the phone and didn't give Lin Ruoshi a chance to speak. Yang Cheng said with some depression, "Hey, at least let me say goodbye to my wife and tell her the password of my bank account. I still have a lot of money to leave her." "No need. After the cooperation with Chairman Zhou is completed, Yulei International will be my next target." Su Jihong sneered. "It seems that it is also destined. Mr. Yang, when I have made up my mind to do something big, I didn't want to kidnap you, but you have been kidnapped by me. Since God wants to help me and let you die, then I won't be polite. You are not allowed to hurt Uncle. Uncle is innocent." When Tang Dang heard that Su Jihong wanted to kill Yang Cheng, she immediately shouted. Yuan Yi shouted with a hoarse voice, "Yang Cheng is my best friend. If you hurt him, my parents will not let you go. We will definitely pursue this to the end." Yang Cheng was slightly touched. These 2 kids, seriously, if I really died, they would probably shed a few drops of tears, right? "You should take care of your own lives first." After Su Jihong glanced at them indifferently, he waved his hand, and 2 men wearing big sunglasses and holding submachine guns came forward. Su Jihong smiled cruelly. "Handcuff his hands and feet, tie enough lead, drive the boat to a place far away, and then throw him off." "Yes." The 2 men responded mechanically and took out 2 pairs of handcuffs. After handcuffing Yang Cheng's feet, they added another pair of handcuffs to Yang Cheng's hands that were already handcuffed. In this way, Yang Cheng's legs and hands were all locked tightly. "Mr. Yang, I hope your trip to the ocean is a pleasant one," Su Jihong said coldly. "Can't you make an exception? I admit that I used to scrounge a lot of money from you, and I even took the woman you liked first. You're also quite pitiful. I said that you can't talk back, but as the saying goes, the sin doesn't deserve to die." Yang Cheng said with a smile. "Drag him out." Su Jihong shouted angrily as if his tail was stepped on. The 2 subordinates immediately lifted Yang Cheng from both ends, as if they were carrying a long box, and hurriedly walked out. Tang Tang and Yuan Yi screamed at the top of their lungs. Tang Tang's tears flowed down, but she couldn't stop them. Harry Ball smacked his lips. "Actually, that brat has some fighting skills. If I wasn't busy today, I would have fought with him before he died." Su Jihong snorted. "If you want to fight, I can send you to the ocean to accompany him. After you die, you can fight even if you become a ghost." "Hey, no, boss, this is not a joke. It's better for me to accompany boss, earn money, play with women. How comfortable." Harry Ball rejected Su Jihong's proposal. Seeing Yang Cheng being taken away and about to be sunk to the bottom of the sea, Su Jihong felt refreshed and his mood was much better. He smiled and said, "Let's go, we'll go back and wait for Chairman Zhou to bring good news." "Okay, I've been hungry for a long time. I haven't eaten lunch yet. Boss, treat me to a meal." Harry Ball immediately followed. After a few steps, Su Jihong turned around and said to the man in charge of this group of men with a high chin, "Stay here for the time being. If there is a situation, I will call you. Keep a close eye on it. If you find anything wrong, immediately go into the sea." "Yes." Yuan Yi and Tang Dang turned a deaf ear to him. At this moment, they were just staring in the direction in which Yang Cheng was being carried out, especially Tang Dang. Her eyes flashed with countless complex thoughts, as if she was petrified, motionless. Chapter 222. Less than 10 minutes after Su Jihong and his servant left, one of the two men in black leather suits and sunglasses returned. He wiped the sweat off his face as he walked in through the door. Yuan Yi and Tang Tang saw that someone had returned, but there was no sign of Yang Cheng. Their last hope was shattered, and they knew that Yang Cheng had been thrown into the sea. They all knew that Yang Cheng had extraordinary skills. Previously, they still hoped that Yang Cheng could miraculously survive. Even if they knew that under the circumstances where both his hands and feet were cuffed and the other party had a submachine gun in his hand, the possibility of that happening was next to nothing. Yuan Yi and Tang Tang looked at each other and saw sorrow and regret in each other's eyes. The man with the high chin asked casually, "Old 14, where the 19?" The man called 14 shook his head and gulped, as if it was very difficult. "He's already dead." "What? Dead? What do you mean?" The man with the high chin was stunned and asked in shock. The surrounding men also looked over, their faces full of doubt. At this time, a man with sunglasses who was close to 14 suddenly shouted, "Boss, he's not 14. He's—" Without waiting for the man to finish, 14 had already eerily stuck out the submachine gun from under his armpit, and a burst of bullets directly pierced through the man's throat. Da-da-da. The bullets cut through the silence of the warehouse, blood splattered everywhere. "It's Yang Cheng." Yuan Yi saw who it was and shouted in surprise. Tang Tang also smiled through her tears, but she bit her lips and was too excited to say anything. "Damn it, kill him." The man with the high chin suddenly realized that this 14 was actually Yang Cheng in disguise. Because everyone was wearing the same clothes and big sunglasses, it was hard to see clearly from afar. Moreover, they did not expect that two of their men would be killed and replaced. And when Yang Cheng walked over, he pretended to wipe his sweat and cover his face. However, to Yang Cheng, it was no longer important whether he was discovered or not. If he didn't have a gun, then it would take more effort to deal with the remaining dozen people. After all, he needed to weave through the bullets. He could keep up with the speed, but he also needed to keep accurate calculations. Now, with the submachine gun in hand, he only needed to move at high speed so that they couldn't catch his figure. In terms of attacking, Yang Cheng was simply at his fingertips. The scorching hot bullets constantly streaked past Yang Cheng's body, bringing with it a heat wave that scorched the air. Amidst the smoke, Yang Cheng raised the submachine gun with one hand and fired a series of bullets through various complicated and nearly impossible postures. The group of robbers suddenly realized to their horror that this man's body was like a virtual illusion in their eyes. Every time the man left, the bullets would hit his original position. As for the submachine gun in the man's hand, the bullets shot out were like missiles that could automatically track. They were one step ahead of them and arrived at the position they were about to move to. Every time Yang Cheng pulled the trigger, one or two robbers would fall. Even before they died, they didn't understand why the man was clearly in front of them, but they were shot in the back of the head. When almost all the people in the warehouse fell into a pool of blood, leaving only the leader with the high chin. The man with the high chin was finally shocked. One or two of his arms holding onto the submachine gun seemed to have frozen, and he no longer had the strength to pull the trigger. As far as the eye could see, the brothers who were still alive 10 seconds ago were all dead. A cold touch appeared on his forehead. The man with the high chin opened his eyes wide and looked up. The black barrel of the gun was already pressed against his forehead. Yang Cheng wasn't out of breath at all. He sighed slightly and said, "I'm tired of playing with guns." Da-da-da-da. A series of bullets were shot into the man's forehead, and the red and white sticky substance burst out on the spot. In the blink of an eye, the whole situation had turned upside down. Yuan Yi and Tang Tang looked at Yang Cheng in disbelief as he easily threw away the submachine gun in his hand and walked in front of the two of them. Yang Cheng looked at the two young people who were in a daze and asked, "Yuan Yi, what's your home phone number? The communication signal here has been cut off, so you can only use this modified phone. Make a call and tell them you're safe." Yuan Yi acted as if he didn't hear the question and asked, "How did you escape? Didn't we just want to sink you into the sea? You want me to be sunk?" "Of course not, I'm just a little curious." Yuan Yi smiled honestly. Yang Cheng had no choice but to bend down and grab the alloy chain of Yuan Ye's handcuffs and casually pull it. Crack! The seemingly sturdy metal chain broke, like a fragile piece of paper. Yang Cheng did the same and broke Tong Tong's handcuffs and said, "I broke the chain just like that, then gave those two guys a punch each, changed my clothes, and came in." Yuan Yi and Tang Dang were dumbfounded, but the truth had happened in front of them, so they could only believe it like it was a dream. "Don't look at me like I'm a monster. Hurry up and say the number." Yang Cheng also had no choice. He already told them not to kill him, but they still wanted to kill him, so they could only be killed by him. "Uncle, you're so handsome. I knew you could do it." Tong Tong's big eyes were full of worship. "You must have thought I was already dead, silly girl." You really cried, quite sadly. "Your uncle is very satisfied." Yang Cheng smiled and touched Tong Tong's head. Yuan Ye's face was also full of joy as he said, "I'll call them back. Let's see what Su Ji Hong and the others can do now." "All right, I'll go out and drive the car to wait for you guys. Those two trucks are still here." Yang Cheng found the truck keys from the dead gangster and left the warehouse first. But just as Yang Cheng was about to walk out of the warehouse door, he felt a chill down his spine. The road, paved with years of blood, made Yang Cheng especially sensitive to any kind of murderous aura. He immediately turned around. More than 40 meters away, a man who had fallen to the ground with a face full of blood suddenly raised his hand with difficulty. The submachine gun in his hand trembled as he aimed at Tang Dang, who had her back facing him. "Be careful." Yuan Yi happened to see the movement and almost instinctively pushed Tong Tong's body to the side. The man grinned and pulled the trigger in pain. Two spurts of blood shot out from Yuan Ye's chest as he knelt on the ground. Yang Cheng's bullet followed closely and blew the head of the man, who was still breathing. He rushed in front of Yuan Yi in a few steps and supported Yuan Ye's body that had been shot. Upon closer inspection, the place that was shot was at the edge of the heart. Although he might not die immediately, his life was definitely in danger at any time. "Brother Yuan Yi." Tang Tang recovered from the shock and saw Yuan Yi, who had saved her but blocked the bullet. Her tears fell uncontrollably like pearls from a broken necklace. Yang Cheng's eyes were a little red. The man had been shot in the heart, but he didn't die immediately. The only explanation was that his heart was different from an ordinary person's, and the position was slightly off. The probability of such a thing happening was extremely low. He didn't expect to encounter it today. Yang Cheng carried Yuan Ye's body and said to Tang Tang, "Let's go. We'll send him to the hospital. There's still time to save him." Tang Tang wiped her tears and quickly caught up with him. She held Yuan Ye's hanging hand with one hand and sobbed, unable to say a word. They quickly ran to the side of the truck. Fortunately, this large GMC truck had 4 doors, so the back was just big enough for Yuan Yi to lie down. After settling Yuan Yi down, Tang Tang also sat in the back, still worried. She hugged Yuan Ye's head and used it as a pillow on her lap. The white shirt on Yuan Ye's chest was already dark red, and blood kept flowing out. Under Tong Tong's puzzled gaze, Yang Cheng reached out and pressed his palm on Yuan Ye's chest for a while. Miraculously, the blood on Yuan Ye's chest showed signs of stopping. Uncle, what should we do? I don't want big brother Yuan Yi to die." Tang Dang, who was usually lively, saw 2 men she cared about die. Especially when she saw that Yuan Yi was seriously injured in order to save her, she was on the verge of breaking down. Yang Cheng quietly closed the door, sat in the driver's seat, started the truck, and drove towards the road outside the port. "Take good care of him. As long as we send him to the hospital, he'll be fine," Yang Cheng said with a serious expression. In fact, Yang Cheng didn't know if Yuan Yi could last until the emergency treatment. Although he used the internal force of the endless resolve restoration scripture to stabilize Yuan Ye's injury, whether he could make it or not depended on Yuan Ye's own efforts. At this time, Yuan Yi coughed twice in pain. He opened his eyes drowsily and called out in a low voice, "Tang Tang." At this moment, Tang Tang was hugging Yuan Ye's head and wiping her tears. When the tears fell on Yuan Ye's face, Tang Tang immediately helped Yuan Yi wipe them away. The young lady was about to become a tearful person. Perhaps Tang Tang had never cried so much in her life as she did today. Big brother Yuan Yi, don't talk. Uncle is going to send you to the hospital. With Uncle here, you'll be fine. Look, you're not bleeding anymore. You'll definitely get better. As Tang Tang spoke, she couldn't help but choke with sobs. Yuan Yi grinned with difficulty. Tang Tang, I have something to say to you. Don't say it. Don't say it. I don't want to hear it. Tell me when you're better. I feel I don't have any strength. I'm afraid I won't have the chance to say it in the future. Yuan Yi coughed twice, and it seemed like he was struggling to keep his eyes open. Tang Tang pouted and immediately covered her mouth with one hand. She nodded, trying hard not to cry out loud. Yuan Yi moved his head closer to Tong Tong's body, as if he was smelling the scent on Tong Tong's body. Tang Tang, if I leave today, promise me, in this life, don't love anyone. Just think of me for the rest of your life and live alone. I know that you're still very young, younger than me by 2 years. Perhaps this is the most selfish choice I've ever made in my life. But this is the choice of a man who loves you, and I hope you can respect it. A handsome, beautiful Tang Tang. In the future, you must also be handsome. Tang Tang, I wanted to say a long time ago, I love you. I love you. Wah. Tang Tang finally couldn't hold it in anymore and cried out loud. Her mournful cries filled the entire car with grief, as if the young lady's heart was also withering along with her cries. Yang Cheng fiercely stepped on the accelerator, and the large truck, which was already more than twice the speed limit, seemed to have turned into a giant roaring beast, madly rushing towards the nearest hospital in the city. The expressionless Yang Cheng's face twitched slightly. Anger and regret made his brain feel like it was out of control. It had been too long since he had this kind of uncontrollable emotion. It wasn't because of the cruelty of the enemy, but because of the simple words spoken by a person he cared about. This little bastard, he wasn't even dead yet, and he was talking about life and death. If he wanted to confess, he should buy a bouquet of red roses, wear a pair of shiny black leather shoes, and offer a diamond ring under the moonlight. What was this? His chest was bleeding, and he couldn't even breathe. What was this? Was this a mockery towards me? Mocking me that even if I killed everyone, I still couldn't protect him? Yang Cheng clenched his teeth and madly pressed the loud horn of the truck, as if only the ear-piercing shrill of the horn could cover up Tong Tong's crazed cries inside the car. Chapter 223. Second Hospital of Zhonghai, outside the emergency operating room. The quiet corridor was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. The white, energy-saving lights shone in the dark space during the day, giving people a dull and oppressive feeling. The operating room lights continued to shine without any movement, as if the person who was pushed in was being judged by God. There was no other way but to wait. At this time, soft and slow footsteps sounded from the other end. She was still wearing the cute black and white dress, but Tong Tong's face was as gloomy as a pencil sketch coming out of a gray drawing board. Yang Cheng, who had been sitting quietly on the cold bench in front of the operating room, stood up and asked with a heavy face, "Did you call them?" Tong Tong's expression was a little numb, but she still nodded. "Yes, Uncle Yuan, Auntie, and my dad will be here soon." "What about Zhou Guangyan?" "He reached some terms and left in advance." "We notified him late," Tang Tang said faintly. A hint of killing intent flashed in Yang Cheng's eyes, but he still calmed down first. He supported Tong Tong's thin shoulders and sat down on the bench. "You take a rest, you don't look good either." Tang Tang lowered her eyes. Her complicated expression was so mature that it was not something a girl of her age should have. It was as if the lively and flamboyant girl had grown 10 years older in an instant. She had become somewhat unrecognizable. After sitting down, Tang Tang raised her head and smiled at Yang Cheng. "Uncle, I'm fine. You don't have to blame yourself. If it wasn't for you, we would all have been used by them, or even thrown into the sea to feed the fish. I was careless. There's nothing to comfort me about, but I think Yuan Yi will get better," Yang Cheng said. Speaking of Yuan Yi in the operating room, Tang Tang turned her head away, reached out to wipe the corner of her eyes, and said softly, "Uncle, do you remember what I asked you the other day?" "What?" "When he was with Tang Tang, this girl would always talk nonstop. Yang Cheng really couldn't remember what she was talking about. I like to play with you and stick to you. I thought that was liking someone and loving someone, but you're always unwilling to accept me and be intimate with me. You call me a little girl and call me a wimpy brat. That's why I asked you the other day, how is a person considered mature? Yang Cheng gradually recalled that Tang Dang was talking about the day she ran away from home. Tell me, if there comes a day when I feel that there are fewer and fewer things to complain about, or when I feel that there is nothing to complain about, then I will have matured. Tang Tang turned her head. Her eyes were slightly red and swollen, but there was a sweet smile at the corner of her mouth. I've been thinking about this for the past few days, but I finally understand now because I feel very satisfied now. I've always had such a person by my side, and even used his life to protect me. What do I have to complain about? Yang Cheng quietly looked at Tang Tang, who had suddenly changed in front of him. He was a little not used to it, but he still listened carefully. Uncle, ever since I was sensible, although my parents were very good to me, they always gave in to me and took care of me. The only one who thought about me was Brother Yuanyi. When I was young, he accompanied me to summer camp, took me to the suburbs to catch rhinoceros beetles, and took me to the beach to play in the water with a life buoy. Whenever other children bullied me, he would help me beat them up. If he couldn't beat them, he would call other people to fight with him. There were a few times when Annie Yuan spanked him until he couldn't get out of bed. I used to think that he was like my brother, and everything was natural. If there was good food, I didn't have to fight with him, and he would deliver it to me himself. If there was fun, he would definitely bring me along. Back then, when I wanted to play with cars, he secretly hid it from the adults and used his private money to buy me a Porsche. In the end, he was reprimanded by the adults in his family and was even grounded for a month. Later, when I raced, he would drive behind me with his bodyguards, afraid that something would happen to me, afraid that I would be bullied by bad people. But I was in high school, and I was busy with my studies. He worked in esports, so we didn't see each other much. But he would often call me, telling me about the new delicious restaurants, the new good movies, and the new games. He wanted to bring me to eat, watch, and play together. Sometimes I feel that he's really annoying. He has to bring me along for everything, and I have a lot of things to do. I don't have the time to be with him, so I often rudely ask him to leave me alone on the phone. But he's never angry with me. As she spoke, Tong Tong's voice trembled slightly. She pursed her lips and smiled, but her tears couldn't help but drip onto the smooth ground, splashing water. Yang Cheng listened quietly. He always thought that Tong Tong's luxurious car was bought for her by her parents. He didn't expect it to be a gift from Yuanyi. He also didn't expect that Yuanyi wasn't driving at night to play, but to protect Tang Tang. Uncle, do you know? That day, you told me that I was just too young and didn't know anything. When I saw you doing something cool and saving me, I would have a blind admiration for you, thinking that that was love. I always thought that you were evading me because you didn't like me. You thought that I was a child and didn't take it seriously, so I didn't believe it. You touched me on the street and hugged me. How could you be so irresponsible? And I clearly wanted to see you so much, wanted to hug you so much. How could that not be love for you? But today, when I saw those two bad guys carry you out and say that they were going to feed you to the fishes, I realized that I only felt the pain of losing a family member. It was like losing an elder, but it wasn't the emptiness of losing a lover. Although I don't know what love is, I'm sure that my feelings for you are really not love. But just now in the car, I saw Big Brother Yuan in so much pain, and he even said those things. I suddenly wanted to swap souls with him. If possible, let me take the bullet and go into the operating room of his place. But Big Brother Yuan will definitely scold me. He will definitely hit me. I know that although he never scolds me or hits me, if I get hurt because of him, he will definitely scold me. Hit me hard. Sob, Uncle, what should I do? I don't want to be scolded by him. I don't want to be beaten by him. I'm afraid my heart will break, but I really don't want Big Brother Yuan to leave me. Sob. Tang Dang turned around, and her body fell weakly onto Yang Cheng's body. Her tears instantly soaked the shirt on Yang Cheng's chest. Her sobs sounded abrupt in the corridor, so abrupt that no one could comfort her. Yang Cheng reached out and patted Tong Tong's back. The girl's words were so incoherent in the end, but the sincerity in them made him sweat. Actually, many times, it wasn't that people didn't understand, but that they lacked the right opportunity to break free from their shackles and transform. That happened in the blink of an eye. 10 minutes later, there was finally the sound of hurried footsteps coming from outside the quiet corridor. Many people were rushing towards the operating room from afar. Yang Cheng and Tang Tang, who had been waiting for the results, stood up. Tang Tang quickly ran towards a group of people and shouted, "Daddy!" She hugged Fang Zhongping tightly as he rushed over. Among the group of people, Yang Cheng only recognized Tang Tang's father, Secretary Fang Zhongping, and Fang Zhongping's bodyguard, Duge Zue. The other well-dressed men and women were probably the elders of Yuanye's family. However, one of them, who was dressed in a light coffee-colored dress and had her hair tied up high, had an anxious expression on her face. The moment she saw Yang Chun, she seemed to have seen something that made her extremely shocked. The anxiety on her face gradually dissipated, and she stared straight at Yang Chun. Yang Chun also noticed that this woman was paying special attention to him. He could feel an inexplicable aura from this woman. It seemed familiar, yet strange. However, he wasn't narcissistic enough to think that this woman had fallen in love with him. Judging from her appearance and attire, it was very likely that she was Yuanye's mother. The middle-aged man who looked similar to Yuanye was the Yuan family's patriarch, Yuan Hui. At this moment, seeing that Tang Tang was safe and sound, he looked at the operating room light that was still on. He frowned and said, "Tang Tang, tell Uncle in detail what happened. Weren't you kidnapped just now? How did you get to the hospital so quickly? How did little Yi get injured?" Fang Zhongping said unhappily, "Yuan Hui, why are you in such a hurry? Can't you see that my daughter's face is so pale? Tell me slowly." Fang Zhongping, Secretary Fang, my son is undergoing surgery, and we don't even know if he's alive or dead. How can I not be anxious? Yuan Hui said loudly. "Dad, let me talk to Uncle Yuan." Tang Tang persuaded Fang Zhongping and turned to Yuan Hui. "Uncle Yuan, this morning, Brother Yuanye came to pick us up." Tang Tang gave a rough summary of what happened this morning. When she talked about how Yang Chun single-handedly dealt with all the enemies, the group of people present then looked at this seemingly ordinary man who had never made a sound. Fang Zhongping and Duge Zue already knew about Yang Cheng and even threatened Yang Cheng back then. They didn't expect Yang Cheng to turn the situation around by himself today. They couldn't help but have a strange expression on their faces. "Thank you for saving my son and Tang Tang." The lady who had been staring at Yang Cheng walked up and extended her hand to Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng hesitated for a moment and shook her hand. It felt warm and soft. "You're welcome. Because of my negligence, he's still in the emergency room. He's not in a good condition. Tang Tang called you uncle. May I know your name?" The lady stared into Yang Cheng's eyes and asked in a seemingly casual manner. "Yang Cheng." The lady's body trembled slightly. Her facial expression was a little stiff, but she still pursed her lips and smiled. "Hello, Yang Cheng. I'm Yang Jiyu, Yuanye's mother." Yuan Hui, who had been restless, saw his wife's strange behavior. He carefully looked at Yang Cheng and finally felt a trace of unnaturalness. He exchanged glances with Yang Jiyu, and the two of them quietly exchanged glances. "Yang Cheng, I really have to thank you. Although Xiao Yi is still in surgery, it's a great thing for our Yuan family and Fang family that you could bring them out. We didn't expect Zhou Guangyin and Su Jihong to join hands. Not only did we fall into their trap, we were also powerless to fight back. This is great. Although Zhou Guangyin took advantage of them, they haven't reaped the greatest benefits yet. We can face them head-on." Yuan Hui similarly walked forward and shook hands with Yang Chun with gratitude in his eyes. Yang Cheng said, "No matter what you want to do, wait until Yuanye's surgery is over first." "That's right. I'll immediately arrange for people to protect the hospital. Tang Tang, go to Dad's place first. You're tired enough. Let Uncle Dugu send you back," Fang Zhongping said. "No, I want to wait for Brother Yuanyi to come out." Tang Tang shook her head firmly. "Let Tang Tang stay here," Yang Jiyu said faintly. As a mother, she seemed to be more composed than anyone else. Hearing Yang Jiyu's words, Fang Zhongping didn't say anything else and nodded in tacit agreement. At this moment, the lights in the surgery room finally went off. The two doors were pushed open by the nurses from the inside. Chapter 224. Brother Yuan Yi. Tang Tang was the first to rush forward. She saw Yuan Yi, who was wearing an oxygen mask, and kept calling his name. Yuan Yi's eyes were closed, and his brows were tightly knitted. He didn't respond at all. His pale face made everyone's heart ache. The doctor in the green surgical gown took off his mask. He didn't look too good and advised, "Miss, don't disturb the patient. He needs a quiet environment to continue his observation." "Doctor, what do you mean? Was the surgery unsuccessful?" Yuan Hui walked forward and asked nervously. The doctor was shocked by him. He took a step back and said, "Sir, we've tried our best. We've taken out 2 bullets and stopped the bleeding. The treatment of the wound is also very smooth. However, the patient's wound is at the edge of the heart. If the bullet was less than a millimeter away, even the almighty Golden Immortal would not be able to save him. So, what we need to see now is whether the patient can survive tonight. After tonight, if the patient's data is normal, then recovery is only a matter of time. Doctor, no matter what, please don't let anything happen to our son. We will definitely reward you handsomely," Yang Jiu said solemnly with one hand on Yuan Ye's face. "Madam, no matter who it is, we will do our best. Please rest assured. Let the patient go to the intensive care unit now." "Doctor, can I go to the ward to accompany Brother Yuan Yi? I will be very obedient and won't disturb you," Tang Tang begged. The doctor and his assistants looked at each other and nodded. "All right then, Miss, please follow us." The group sent Yuan Yi to the intensive care unit. The ward was divided into 2 floors. After entering the door, there was a sterilized room inside. Tang Tang put on the sterilized clothes and accompanied Yuan Yi into the room. Outside the large isolation glass, Fang Zhongping said with a strange expression, "Why does Tang Tang seem a little different from before? It seems like Yuan Yi's injury had a great impact on her." Yang Jiu looked at Tang Tang, who was guarding the bed, with a smile. "Girls grow up and become sensible quickly. As a father, you can't understand your daughter's mind." Fang Zhongping was stunned and shook his head with a bitter smile. "I'm afraid I will never understand a woman's mind in this lifetime." Most of the people present knew about Fang Zhongping's situation and stopped talking at the same time. "It's almost settled. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first." Yang Cheng took one last look at Yuan Yi and turned to leave. "Wait," Yang Jiu suddenly called out to Yang Cheng. "Yang Cheng, you saved our son and Tang Tang this time, but you must have provoked Zhou Guangyan and Su Jihong's hostility. Why don't you stay with us for now and go back after the storm is settled?" Looking at Yang Jiu's meaningful gaze, Yang Cheng's mind was in a mess. An indescribable emotion made him very uneasy and nervous, but also with some inexplicable anticipation. Yang Cheng lowered his head and thought for a moment to calm himself down. He said, "What do you plan to do? If it's just the Su family, I think you have the ability to cooperate and crush them financially. However, Dongxing's Zhou Guangyan has deep roots in Zhonghai. Perhaps you can crush his Dongxing group, but if the Dongxing Society's underworld forces fully surface, Secretary Fang, even if you're a high-ranking official, the country's higher-ups will be dissatisfied." Fang Zhongping's face darkened. Indeed, this was the reason why he didn't dare to say anything. No matter how powerful the Fang family was, it was only limited to Zhonghai when compared to the whole of Huaxia. If they sent their armed forces to fight with Dongxing, it would definitely be a tug of war. If they disrupted the lives of the civilians, the higher-ups would definitely not let the Fang family off. Yuan Hui's eyes flickered. "Yang Cheng, it seems like you're quite familiar with the situation in Zhonghai. Although this is the first time we've met, you've saved the only child of both our families. To us, this is a huge favor. We trust you. If you have anything to say, feel free to say it." Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Yang Cheng made up his mind and said, "Actually, we can cooperate. In just one night, we can almost eradicate Dongxing and the Su family." "Cooperate? You want to cooperate with us?" Fang Zhongping frowned and said, "Yang Cheng, we've had dealings before. Don't blame me for being direct, but why do you want to cooperate with us? Whether it's in terms of wealth or influence, what do you have? Secretary Fong let Yang Cheng finish. Yang Jiu glanced at Fong Zhongping unhappily. Fong Zhongping seemed to be a little afraid of Yang Jiu and immediately shut his mouth. Yang Cheng continued. Do you know in the whole of Zhonghai who understands Dongxing the most and who wants to eradicate Dongxing the most? Everyone thought carefully and said almost in unison, Red Thorn Society. Isn't this nonsense? Red Thorn Society controls the West District and has just annexed West Union Society not long ago. Their morale is high and their strength has increased greatly. However, they're also a mafia, a cancer in the eyes of our government. How can we get them to help us get rid of Dongxing? Fong Zhongping said angrily. Yang Cheng smiled lightly and said, Whether or not I can get Red Thorn Society to help is my business. Right now, I only want to know, if Red Thorn Society launches an all-out war against Dongxing, are you guys willing to spend a large amount of money to attack the Su family's businesses and send out armed forces to assist Red Thorn Society in uprooting all of Dongxing's strongholds? As soon as Yang Cheng asked this question, everyone in the room fell silent, as if they were considering the authenticity and feasibility of the question. This isn't child's play. Why should we believe you? Yuan Hui asked. I believe him, Yang Jiu said. Hubby, I think he has a reason to lie to us. Hearing his beloved wife's words, Yuan Hui nodded and said, All right, if that's the case, our Yuan family has no problem. The Su family is inferior to us to begin with, and their stocks are at the lowest point. If we are serious, the Su family won't be able to withstand it at all. It all depends on the Fong family, Secretary Fong, the police force, and the armed forces are all under your jurisdiction. Fong Zhongping hesitated and said, Have you guys considered this? Even if Red Thorn Society is willing to help us get rid of Dongxing, it will still be a large-scale armed operation in the whole of Zhonghai, and it will even put the lives of many civilians in danger. In just a few hours, the media reports will be unfavorable to our Fong family. How can those few people in Beijing allow such a huge riot to happen? If most of the people in Dongxing retreat, it will affect other provinces, and it will be even more difficult to deal with. You don't have to worry about this, Yang Jiu suddenly said with a clear voice. I will call my brother later. Tonight at midnight, we will seal off the entire periphery of Zhonghai and the sea. I will let my father know about this in Beijing. His grandson was almost beaten to death by the triads. I think he will do something about it. Really? Fong Zhongping was overjoyed. He laughed and said, As long as you can get in touch with your brother and Uncle Yang, you will be able to turn Zhonghai upside down. My Fong family will accompany you to the end. Yang Jiu smiled playfully and said, Secretary Fong, you must have been waiting for me to say this. Hee. What are you talking about, sister-in-law? Tang Tang is also my precious daughter. She is the flesh of my heart. She was bullied and almost lost her life. How can I not be angry as her father? Fong Zhongping seemed to have been injected with a tranquilizer. With Yang Jiu's guarantee, he seemed to be afraid of nothing. Yuan Hui smiled helplessly and said to Yang Jiu in a gentle voice, Jiu, then I can only trouble you to call father-in-law and elder brother. I will go immediately, Yang Jiu said and glanced at Yang Cheng indifferently, then left under the protection of two bodyguards. Yuan Hui asked, Yang Cheng, when will you contact the Red Thorn Society? I can also contact them now. Tonight at midnight, we will attack all of Dongxing Society's strongholds. We only need the support of the government's armed forces and the communication to seal off the location of the battle. There shouldn't be too many casualties. Yang Cheng said to Fong Zhongping, Secretary Fong, I will get the leader of the Red Thorn Society, Chiang Wei, to contact you for the specific battle plan. She is more qualified than anyone else on how to deal with Dongxing Society, so I hope that you will stand your ground and not overreach yourself. Don't worry, if I was only an arrogant person, I wouldn't be sitting in this position today. I will only let my subordinates assist me and definitely won't fight for anything, Fong Zhongping guaranteed. Yang Cheng nodded and was about to leave when he suddenly heard a quarrel outside the intensive care unit. Let me in. Why are you guys stopping me? Miss, this is the resting place of an important patient. Only family members can enter. I am a family member. The police told me that the person I am looking for is here. Miss, you don't have the police's identification. We can't let you in. You didn't even tell us who you were looking for. Please don't make things difficult for us. I want to confirm who the patient inside is. Miss, you can't force your way in. You have to at least tell us who the family member you're looking for is. Otherwise, we definitely won't let you in as you please. I want to find my husband. The door was open from the inside. Yang Chung bit his lower lip, trying hard not to laugh, and looked playfully at Lin Ruoshi, who was tangling with two nurses in front of the door. Lin Ruoshi's moon-white professional suit looked a little messy, and a few strands of her black hair hung down to her forehead. Her beautiful face, which seemed to be carved out of white jade, was pink, and because of her anxiousness and the quarrel, she was panting tenderly. Yang Chung winked at her. My dear Ruoshi, you finally call me husband. Chapter 225. Seeing Yang Chung suddenly appear in front of her, Lin Ruoshi almost stopped breathing. But in the next moment, her cheeks were so red that water was about to drip out. She glanced at Yang Chung and snorted. So you're fine. Thank you for your concern, my wife. Although I encountered some trouble, I'm fine. Yang Chung smiled with satisfaction. I'm going to die. What is Yonyan talking about? What is she talking about? This bad guy is fine. I'm finished. He must have heard everything I said. How am I going to meet him in the future? I'm so embarrassed. The more Lin Ruoshi thought about it, the more uncomfortable she felt. It turned out that after receiving Su Jihong's weird call, she called Choi Yun, who was working at the police station, to ask for help. After all, she didn't have any leads. Just now, Choi Yun suddenly received a message from the Yuan family and the Fong family. They asked the police station to send people to the second hospital to provide police support. Only then did she tell Lin Ruoshi about it. When Lin Ruoshi heard Choi Yun say that someone was shot, she immediately hung up the phone and rushed over. But she didn't expect that she was too anxious and didn't ask clearly who was shot, which led to the scene just now. Why are you looking at me like that? Lin Ruoshi felt that Yang Cheng's smile was very strange. The invasive look in his eyes made her feel a little uncomfortable. Yang Cheng took a step forward, and Lin Ruoshi immediately took a step back. She looked at Yang Cheng with vigilance. It's not like I'm going to eat you up. Come here. Seeing that my dear is so concerned about me and worried for me, I plan to reluctantly give you a hug. There's no charge. If you want to kiss, that's fine too, but you have to let me kiss you back. As Yang Chen spoke, he straightforwardly opened his arms, with a face full of righteousness. When the two nurses saw this scene, they hid at the side and snickered as if they were watching a good show. Rogue, being made such a joke in front of others. Lin Ruoshi felt her ears turn red. She angrily glared at Yang Cheng, turned around, and ran away with her bag. Yang Cheng's face was gloomy. Why was she always cursing these two words? It seemed that he had to expand Lin Ruoshi's vocabulary of cursing. He said to the two little nurses, "What are you laughing at? You scare my wife away." After saying that, he ignored the two young nurses who had innocent expressions on their faces and chased after them. He chased her all the way to the entrance of the hospital. Lin Ruoshi's red Bentley was parked there. Yang Cheng saw that she was about to get in the car, so he strode forward and stopped her. At this moment, Lin Ruoshi had already returned to her usual ice-cold appearance. She stared at Yang Cheng and said, "Get out of the way." "I'll get out of the way, but out of your concern for me, I feel that I should tell you why all of this happened." Yang Cheng helplessly smiled. It seemed that he still overestimated his position in her heart. He only made a simple joke, and she was going to fall out with him. "I don't want to hear it, and I'm not interested in learning about you. I just came to confirm whether you're dead or not. Since you're not dead, then I have a meeting in the afternoon." Lin Ruoshi said coldly. Yang Cheng sighed. He didn't ask for a rebuff and stepped aside to let Lin Ruoshi get in the car. Lin Ruoshi closed the door without looking back. She started the car and left. In the blink of an eye, she was out of the hospital. Yang Cheng bitterly smiled and shook his head. He took out his phone and dialed Chiang Wei's number. At the same time, in a long white Cadillac, Yang Jiyu was holding her phone and talking to someone. Brother, this is what happened. So I need you to give some military orders. Let the Jiangnan military force and navy put Zhonghai on lockdown for the second half of the night. Yang Jiyu said. On the other side of the phone, a deep male voice said, I have no problem, but you need to ask for Dad's opinion. Dad really likes Xiao Yi, this grandson. He will definitely agree. Yes, even if it's not for his nephew. The old man can't stand this kind of power. Is there anything else? Brother, I have one more thing, but I don't know if I should say. Yang Jiyu hesitated. Jiyu, we're siblings. What did you have to hide things from me? The man said unhappily. No, brother. I met a young man today. His name is Yang Cheng. The other side of the phone was silent for a while. Then he said, Is that so? What's wrong? He looks like you when you were young. He Wei and I have the same feeling. Yang Jiyu took a lot of effort to say this sentence. This time, the other side of the phone was silent for a long time. After a long time, he said, I know. Don't tell Dad about this. When Dad agrees, send me a message. I will let the army first seal off the sea, then seal off all the channels around Zhonghai. Yang Jiyu was relieved. She nodded and hung up the phone. On the other hand, after Yang Cheng informed Qiang Wei about the general situation, Qiang Wei immediately showed a strong interest and enthusiasm. She probably also realized that this was a good opportunity to unify Zhonghai. Therefore, they agreed to meet at the Rose Bar in an hour. Before that, Yang Cheng chose to go back to the hospital to inform the others and say goodbye to Tang Tang. When they arrived at the door of the intensive care unit, Yang Cheng and Yuan Hui told Fang Zhongping that the Red Thorn Society had finished informing them. At night, they could mobilize all forces to cooperate with the government police and army to destroy all the strongholds of Dongxing. This made Fang Zhongping's eyes light up. Yang Cheng, if this operation is successful, you will be the hero of Zhonghai. Fang Zhongping said, I think you should also know that Tang Tang was almost kidnapped by the people of Dongxing many times. That's right, so I can understand why you're so excited. Yang Cheng said. Fang Zhongping said indignantly, Zhou Guangnian of Dongxing has always wanted to erase the evidence of his crimes. He also wants to use the power of the government to help him whitewash and legalize some of his underworld businesses. But because I have always been against him, his underworld soldiers can't be placed in the government. So he has always wanted to use Tong Tong's safety to threaten me. If his forces were not so complicated, I would have immediately destroyed all of his strongholds. Yang Cheng said with a smile, So, Secretary Fang, you still have some sense of justice. I just don't like what that old man does. I feel that he is always looking for trouble with me, so I will cooperate with you. Haha, it can't be said to be a sense of justice, but if you want to sit firmly in this position, you can't rely on petty tricks. If you want to climb higher and sit more firmly, you can't do it by wallowing in the mud with those dirty things. God is watching what people do. I, Fang Zhongping, am not a martyr, but at least I have a conscience. What Dongxing has done in these years is really outrageous. After Yang Cheng finished talking with the two, Yuan Hui and Fang Zhongping also left with the bodyguards and began to deploy the specific battle plan. Yang Cheng walked into the intensive care unit. Tang Tang was guarding Yuan Ye's bed. Seeing Yang Cheng come in alone, Tang Tang looked up in confusion. Tang Tang, I have to go first. You stay here tonight. There are many people outside to protect you. It will be very safe. Uncle, I know it will be very chaotic tonight. Uncle, you have to take care of yourself. Tang Tang said with concern. Okay, then I will go. Yang Cheng was about to turn around, but Tang Tang stopped him again. Uncle, Tang Tang pursed her thin lips and said, Uncle, I was thinking, if if something happens to him, I hope to marry him. What do you mean? Yang Cheng was stunned and asked, I've already thought about a lot. If something happens to Yuan Yi and he doesn't wake up after night, then I'll use the method my mother used to give birth to me and give birth to a child for Yuan Yi in the future. Moreover, I'll marry Yuan Yi, Tang Tang said with a burning gaze. In the quiet intensive care unit, other than the soft sound of the equipment, only Tong Tong's clear and firm voice could be heard. Yang Cheng stared at Tang Tang in a daze. He suddenly felt that the girl in front of him was no longer the Tang Tang of yesterday. Her words made him feel fearful, but more than that, it was a kind of shock that came from the bottom of his heart. I will tell the child that his father is a man full of ideals and courage. He is the man that his mother loves the most in her life. Although he can only see his father's appearance in photos, I think he will be proud of his father. Tang Tang said with a smile on her face. Don't think too much. Yang Cheng reached out and touched Tong Tong's forehead. Just based on what you said, if Yuan Yi doesn't wake up, I won't let him go. Okay, I won't let him go either. Right at this moment, no one noticed that the fingertips of Yuan Ye's left hand, who was lying on the bed without moving, trembled slightly. Chapter 226. As night fell, the city of Zhonghai was submerged in a sea of bright lights. The Dragon Guard villa in the suburbs seemed quiet and comfortable. After changing out of her professional suit, Lin Ruoshi, who was wearing a checkered cotton men's pajamas, let her long hair down. The loose pajamas made her look light and soft. Her smooth face without any makeup looked delicate and flawless under the light yellow light. She was like a young lady from a respectable family who never left her home. Her gentle appearance did not make her look like the ruthless and cold female CEO outside at all. Sitting on the chair beside the Western dining table, there were more than 10 plates of exquisite dishes on the table. They were all delicacies cooked by Mother Wong with the exception of a plate of lettuce salad. It seemed to have been overheated when it was soaked in water, causing its color to turn yellow. Mother Wong came out of the kitchen with a small rice cooker. Following Lin Ruoshi's gaze, she saw the big clock on the wall. It was almost 8 o'clock in the evening. Miss, is the son-in-law not back yet? Mother Wong said with some pity. Maybe he won't be home for dinner today. It's a pity for this table of dishes. I wanted to welcome the son-in-law back. After all, he just came back from afar. Sigh, let's not wait anymore. Miss, you've been waiting for almost an hour. Let's eat first. Lin Ruoshi took a deep breath and smiled. I didn't wait for him. I just wasn't hungry just now. Mother Wong, let's eat first. Okay, Mother Wong responded and didn't point it out. She scooped food for Lin Ruoshi and scooped a bowl for herself. After the two sat down, they ate in silence. Mother Wong looked at the lettuce salad that was put aside and said, Miss, you made it yourself. Have you tried it? No, it doesn't look good. Mother Wong, the dishes you make are all green. Once I make them, they turn yellow. It seems that I'm not good at cooking. Lin Ruoshi's expression was a bit gloomy. Miss, you're much smarter than me. I'm sure you'll be good at cooking. It's a pity that the son-in-law won't be back today. If he sees you learning to cook for him, he'll be very happy. Mother Wong comforted. Lin Ruoshi put down the bowl and chopsticks. Mother Wong, don't mention him. I'm not learning for him. I just suddenly want to learn to cook. Mother Wong smiled helplessly. Okay. It's not for the son-in-law. I'm sorry I said I was wrong. But miss, why don't you call him and ask why he's not coming back? Maybe he's coming back for dinner? I don't want to. Lin Ruoshi looked away with a bit of resentment on her face. He'll eat by himself when he's hungry. It's fine if he doesn't want to come back for dinner. It's best if he doesn't come back in the future. Anyway, he has a lot of women outside. It's fine to eat anywhere. Otherwise, I'll be upset when I see him. Mother Wong looked at Lin Ruoshi, who was like a little bully and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Miss, what are you talking about? The son-in-law must have something urgent to do and didn't come home for dinner. Any man would be angry if you said that to him. Don't talk nonsense. At this moment, the phone rang. Lin Ruoshi sighed and walked to the sofa to pick up the phone. She looked at the number. It was Choi Yun. Yonyan, what's wrong? Choi Yun said seriously on the other end of the phone. Ruoshi, are you at home tonight? Yeah. Are you coming over? Lin Ruoshi asked curiously. No, I just want to make sure. I'm worried that you have something to do outside. Anyway, stay at home tonight and don't go anywhere else. At least wait until dawn before you go out. Yonyan, what do you mean? Lin Ruoshi frowned. Choi Yun sighed and said, Anyway, just listen to me. I'm worried about you. That's why I called you. Zhonghai isn't very safe tonight. That's all I can say to you. Okay, I'm very busy. Bye. When Lin Ruoshi's expression changed slightly, Choi Yun hung up the phone. Miss, what did Miss Choi Yun say? Mother Wong saw Lin Ruoshi's expression didn't look too good, so she asked hurriedly. Lin Ruoshi didn't hide it and said, She told me not to go out. Something might happen in Zhonghai tonight. It's not very safe. It's not safe outside. Mother Wang immediately asked worriedly. Then what about the son-in-law? He hasn't come back yet. Could something have happened to him? Why should I care about him? He's very tough. I was almost scared to death by him this morning. I thought he was dead. I went to the hospital to have a look and was almost angered to death by him. I don't care about him. It's better if something happened to him. Lin Ruoshi said angrily and returned to the dining table. However, she couldn't hide the worry in her eyes. Mother Wang couldn't care too much this time. She didn't care what Lin Ruoshi thought. She walked to the phone and dialed Yang Cheng's number. Lin Ruoshi picked up the bowl and chopsticks, but she didn't eat. Instead, she glanced at Mother Wang. After a while, Mother Wang suddenly hung up the phone and sighed softly. How could this be? He said he couldn't get through. Is there no electricity? Lin Ruoshi's hand that was holding the chopsticks trembled slightly. She almost dropped the chopsticks. Then, she looked out of the window. In the dark night, no one appeared. In fact, Yang Cheng's phone was indeed out of battery. 2 days ago, he returned to Zhonghai from Sichuan province. Then, he went to the Imperial Building to look for Lin Ruoshi in the middle of the night. Today, he went to Yuan Ye's birthday party. He encountered so many things that he couldn't remember to charge his phone. Yang Cheng was a little depressed. The communication devices he used in the past could be left uncharged after a few months. It was too troublesome to charge a phone used by ordinary people. However, at this moment, Yang Cheng was not in the mood to care about whether his phone was out of battery or not. At 11 o'clock at night, he was already sitting in a black Hummer H2 with Chiang Wei. The car had just left a secret stronghold of the Red Thorn Society and was heading to Zhonghai East District. In the spacious back seat, a small table was placed horizontally in front of Chiang Wei. On top of it was a small MacBook. Wearing a pair of glasses with only frames, but no lenses, Chiang Wei looked at the map of Zhonghai City and directed the actions of the various branches of the Red Thorn Society. Chiang Wei, baby, didn't you already make a plan? Why are you still messing around here? Yang Cheng asked. Chiang Wei playfully stuck out her little tongue and said, there are many things that need to be changed in a field operation. Of course, it has to be perfect. Looking at the map, Yang Cheng felt bored, but he did not want to disturb Chiang Wei's good mood. After all, to Chiang Wei, this kind of thing was like an emperor expanding his territory in ancient times. It really made her blood boil. Therefore, Yang Cheng climbed into the front seat and looked at little Zhao, who was driving, and Chen Rong, who was sitting in the passenger seat. He smiled and said, Little Zhao, aren't you the head of the branch? Why are you still driving instead of going to the front line to command? Brother Yang, don't make fun of me. I'm just in charge of logistics. Big sister let me drive because she thinks highly of me. This is the only good thing about me, little Zhao. I know my place. Rong Rong, don't you agree? Little Zhao asked Chen Rong with a smile. Chen Rong nodded and said, Yes, brother little Zhao fought with me for the bartender position in the bar last time. I refused to give it to him. Yang Cheng reached out and tapped little Zhao's round head. You're so useless, hanging around in the bar all day. Brother Yang, what you said is wrong. In the bar, I'm the person closest to Big Sister. In ancient times, I'm the head of the imperial household. That position is extraordinary. Brother little Zhao, the head of the imperial household is a eunuch, Chen Rong said with a strange expression. Little Zhao felt wronged. He mumbled a few times and did not say anything else. In the midst of the relaxed conversation, the car finally arrived at the meeting place with Fang Zhongping. It was located at the intersection of the East and West districts. The Hummer was parked in an open space. There were already 2 cars parked around it, but these 2 cars were a bit special. One was a government car with 0001 license plate, and the other was a police car. Chiang Wei, who was wearing a simple black sportswear, jumped out of the car. Yang Cheng, on the other hand, sat lazily in the car and pressed down the window to observe the situation outside. Fang Zhongping and Choi Yun had already arrived. They were relieved to see Chiang Wei appear on time. After all, to them, Chiang Wei and Zhou Guangyan were the leaders of the underworld forces in Zhonghai. At this moment, they were actually going to ally with one of the underworld forces to fight against the other. This scene was somewhat ironic. However, it was fortunate that Xiang Wei's Red Thorn Society had never gone against the government. They had always been relatively low-key, so they were a little more at ease. Xiang Wei reached out to shake hands with Fang Zhongping and Choi Yun in a friendly manner. Then, they started chatting. Fang Zhongping was the leader of the government and the armed forces, but the specific battle command was carried out by Choi Yun and Xiang Wei. However, as for the actual losses, the scope of the impact, etc., Fang Zhongping naturally had to ask clearly and reach consensus. This was also why Choi Yun would supervise midway. Yang Cheng could clearly hear the contents of the discussion between the three of them from afar. Yang Cheng did not want Fang Zhongping to use the power of Red Thorn Society to destroy Dongxing, then turn around and attack Red Thorn Society. Therefore, to ensure the smooth implementation of the plan and fair treatment, Yang Cheng was most concerned about ensuring the smooth implementation of the plan and fair treatment. However, Choi Yun, who was participating in the discussion, would glance at Yang Cheng from time to time. Her eyes were filled with complex emotions, which made Yang Cheng confused. What's wrong with this violent policewoman? Could it be that she saw me together with Xiang Wei? So she felt that this was another crime and was thinking of ways to arrest me. About 20 minutes later, Xiang Wei, Fang Zhongping, and Choi Yun parted ways and returned to the car. Hubby, after tonight, Zhonghai will be ours, Xiang Wei said confidently. You're that confident? Even if Dongxing doesn't know everything, there must be some leaks. As long as we prepare some defenses, it will be a fierce battle, Yang Cheng said. A hint of slyness flashed across Xiang Wei's eyes. I've already made arrangements before the implementation of this plan. The Hummer started up again and drove towards the direction of a neon city. It was already late at night, and there were very few cars on the road. The people who were crazily getting drunk in all kinds of materialistic places had no idea that an overwhelming black storm was about to fall in the early hours of the morning. Chapter 227. Guanli Night Market in Zhonghai Eastern District. This area would be the most bustling intersection of streets every night. There were all kinds of people from all walks of life. There were countless hotels, nightclubs, and clubs here, and they would indulge in extravagant lifestyles. Of course, there would also be countless people who would come here to seek any opportunity to earn more or less money to support their families. In an entertainment club named Golden Age, the dark gold decoration made the entire interior of the club seem deep and mysterious. The peach pink and dim yellow lights made it difficult to see the faces of the people walking back and forth. In the blur, no man or woman would be too stunning, and no clothes would be too straightforward. In a luxurious private room, the deafening speakers were playing Northern Spring from the 70s. The heroic singing was accompanied by traditional Japanese pop music, and the atmosphere in the private room was immersed in a fashionable and nostalgic atmosphere. On the hard black leather sofa, a slightly bald middle-aged man with a rather robust appearance was hugging a graceful girl who was only wearing a black lace bra and a pair of stockings. Her skin exuded an ivory white hue. The man's hand was rubbing on one of the girl's big breasts. From time to time, he would squeeze it into various shapes, causing the girl to moan loudly. "You're so annoying, Brother Jian. You're hurting me," the girl said seductively. The man who was addressed as Brother Jian drank the red wine in the goblet in his other hand. Listening to the girl's soft and seductive voice, the corners of his mouth curled into an evil smile. He casually threw the goblet on the carpet, and the thick carpet was immediately dyed red by the red liquid. "Okay, if it hurts here, I won't pinch you here. Come, let me pinch you down there." While the woman was begging for mercy, Brother Jian forcefully pushed the woman onto the sofa. Both of his legs were pressed against the woman's slender jade legs. He opened his mouth wide and began to crazily gnaw at the woman's face and neck, while his other hand reached for the woman's crotch. The music in the private room covered the girl's various vague shouts, and Brother Jian's face became more and more excited. "Little vixen, you're going to charm me to death. It's not enough to F***CK you every day." Just as Brother Jian was about to tear off the woman's pantyhose that needed to be changed almost every day, the phone on the low table rang. Brother Jian picked up the phone angrily. When he saw the number, his anger immediately subsided by half. He immediately picked up the phone. "President, what are your orders?" "Ah, Jian, return to your hall immediately. I've received news that the Red Thorn Society is going to start a war with us." "What? Did that girl Situ Xiangwei eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall? What right do they have to fight us? Does she think we're as cunning as her useless father? There are also criminal police and armed police involved. Go back quickly, I will command." Mother asterisk Kerr. They were rebelling. "Don't worry, I'll gather all the brothers in the hall once I get back." After Brother Jian hung up the phone, he immediately grabbed his suit jacket and was about to leave. The lady threw herself onto Brother Jian's back with a hidden bitterness. She hugged Brother Jian's neck with her jade-like arms and said in a charming voice, "Brother Jian, you said that you're going to accompany me tonight. Why are you leaving again? Annoying. You lied to me." "Sigh, little darling, how could I bear to lie to you? It's really urgent. I have to go." Brother Jian said gloomily, "No, tell me what's so important." The woman was still hanging onto Brother Jian's body. Brother Jian could only put on his clothes and said, "That Situ Qiangwei from the Red Thorn Society has a mental problem and wants to deal with us together with the police. I have to bring my brothers to get guns and let them see the difference in strength." "Brother Jian, I don't think you'll be able to go tonight," the woman said faintly. "Why?" Brother Jian subconsciously asked without thinking. "Because you have to die now." The lady's soft arms that were hanging around Brother Jian's neck suddenly turned into two steel bars and wrapped around Brother Jian's neck in an instant. The moment Brother Jian reacted, he wanted to use his elbow to hit the woman's stomach. However, he didn't expect that before he could raise his hand, the woman's arms crossed and exerted force. Crack, crack. Brother Jian's head was directly dislocated from his neck bone. He died in an instant. The woman let go of Brother Jian's corpse and sneered. The seductive look on her face didn't diminish at all. She picked up her exquisite pink phone from the low table and dialed an unknown number. "Hello, big sis. Sure, Jian from Dongxing White Tiger Hall is dead. White Tiger Hall is now without a leader. Hai Tang, you've worked hard and done well. You can come back and be with your sisters now." "That's what I should do. Compared to big sis, this is nothing." Haidang happily hung up the phone and picked up a black trench coat from her side, wrapping her voluptuous body in it. Outside the private room, two men in suits who were guarding the door immediately smiled and asked, "Miss Didua, where's the boss?" "Shoo, Brother Jian is drunk. I'm going to the toilet. Don't disturb him. You guys know that he has a bad temper when he's drunk." "I can't help you guys if he loses his temper," Haidang said coquettishly. Yes, yes. Thank you for your concern, Miss Didua." The two men nodded gratefully. Haitang smiled flirtatiously, turned around, and walked towards the door of the Golden Age. The two men in suits watched Haitang's figure disappear around the corner. Only then did their smiles disappear, and they looked at each other and sneered. "She's just a chick who's been F***ed by the boss every day. She really thinks she's a missy. Sigh, forget it. Anyway, when the boss is tired of playing with her, us brothers can play with her to death." "That's true. Ha." At the same time, in an inconspicuous little coffee shop on the side of the East Central Ring Road, Yang Cheng and Xiang Wei sat by the window and drank coffee. The specific situation of each team kept appearing on the computer screen in front of Qiang Wei. The fiery red image of Qiang Wei on the map was constantly nibbling away at the black East printed on it. After listening to Qiang Wei finish another call, Yang Cheng looked at Qiang Wei with a strange expression and sighed. Qiang Wei noticed Yang Cheng's thoughtful gaze and blinked her eyes. "Husband, why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face?" "Qiang Wei, baby, when did you arrange for your spies to be beside the main figures of Dongxing?" Yang Cheng asked curiously. "When I was confronting West Union Society, I arranged for them. At that time, our Red Thorn Society was at a disadvantage. Logically speaking, those elites should have stayed in the headquarters. But because of your appearance, I bet that I would win in the end." Qiang Wei smiled mischievously. "Husband, don't blame me. I thought that way because I trust you. You will definitely help me in the end." Yang Cheng touched his forehead. He looked up and sighed. So everything was part of your plan. Dongxing's people probably never thought that you would choose that kind of time. Instead of taking the initiative to play tricks with West Union society, you had already set your sights on Dongxing. And that's what I thought at that time. Husband, you won't be angry, right? Qiang Wei went forward to hold Yang Cheng's hand with both of her hands. Her expression was somewhat delicate and pitiful. Umph. Yang Cheng chuckled. Forget it. I also know that you women are not easy to deal with. Yang Cheng thought of Lin Ruoshi's series of schemes. Wasn't it just as scheming? When it came to scheming, he probably couldn't beat Lin Ruoshi and Qiang Wei. Because of his strength, he didn't need to think too much about schemes. On the other hand, independent women like them often thought far ahead and complicated. Qiang Wei pursed her lips and smiled. I knew you wouldn't blame me. But, husband, what do you mean by U.S. women? How many women do you have? Yang Cheng coughed twice. He evasively said, how's the progress? Don't tell me we're going to sit here forever. Do you want to go take a look at the front lines? There's no need. It's the same whether we go or not. There are more than 200 locations for the assault this time, and there are more than 50 of them. It's impossible for all of us to be there at the same time. It's better for us to sit here and give orders, Rose said happily. Yang Cheng looked at Qiang Wei's excited and cute face. He couldn't help but laugh. It seems that our Queen Qiang Wei is very happy about ascending to the throne of the underworld in Zhonghai. Husband, do you know that the real happiness in this business isn't after or before defeating the enemy? Even if I become the only leader of the underworld in Zhonghai, I won't feel much excitement. Qiang Wei's beautiful eyes were filled with an indescribable brilliance. The real happiness is only when we defeat the enemy and take over the enemy's territory. At the moment of success, I can feel my heart beating so strongly. You're not going to sleep tonight? Yang Cheng said with a weird smile. No, Qiang Wei said embarrassedly. Hubby, why don't you go home? I'm so happy right now. The municipal party secretary is actually working with me to help me take over Dongxing. I won't sleep with you tonight. Hubby, you should go home. I have nothing to do here anyway. Yang Cheng sighed helplessly. If Fang Zhongping dares to cause trouble for you after this, tell me. I'll help you deal with him. Yeah, don't worry. Actually, as long as we work well together, I'll definitely be of help to him as the leader of the underworld in Zhonghai. He won't be that stupid, Qiang Wei said with a smile. On the computer screen, all kinds of crossfire symbols were appearing. The Black East symbol was constantly being drowned by the Qiang Wei symbol that looked like it was dyed red with blood. Yang Cheng looked at Qiang Wei, who was beaming like a child who had just found a new toy. He shook his head with a bitter smile and walked out of the cafe. Since he had asked the Red Thorn Society to drive his BMW along, Yang Cheng didn't have to ask anyone to send him. It was almost 1:30 a.m. As Yang Cheng drove out of the city, he glanced at the eastern district of Zhonghai that was still brightly lit from the rearview mirror. After tonight, Dongxing, the Zhou family, and even the Su family would all be removed from Zhonghai. However, to Yang Cheng, these matters weren't really that big of a deal. To put it bluntly, if it wasn't for the fact that he had such an opportunity to let someone else do the work for him, allowing Rose to reap the benefits, Yang Cheng could have killed Zhou Guangyin, Su Jihong, and the others by himself, even if he had to take drugs for it. After speeding for more than 10 minutes, Yang Cheng returned to the Dragon Garden mansion. As soon as he got out of the car, Yang Cheng was surprised to find that the lights in the living room were on. It was almost 2 a.m. Yang Cheng frowned. He had the experience of Lin Ruoshi waiting for him to come home before, but it was already so late this time. Yang Cheng didn't think it was possible. He was even called a hooligan by Lin Ruoshi in the morning, so he guessed that the two women at home might have forgotten to turn off the lights. With doubts, Yang Cheng opened the door and walked into the house. Chapter 228. In the living room, the bright light shone on the pale-colored sofa, making it soft and peaceful. Yang Cheng slowly approached and took a closer look. He suddenly froze on the spot. He only saw Lin Ruoshi in cotton pajamas curled up on the sofa like a kitten, facing the door with her hair hanging on the side of her face. Although there was an automatic heater in the room, once a person fell asleep, the temperature was far from enough. Lin Ruoshi felt cold in her sleep. Her body was tightly hugged, and her lips were slightly pale from the cold. She looked so pitiful. Yang Cheng's heart warmed. He was angry and amused at the same time. She was so determined during the day, and now she was waiting for him in the living room in the middle of the night. This woman's mind was really hard to understand. Quietly approaching the sofa, Yang Cheng pondered whether he should carry her upstairs to sleep or find a blanket for her. At this moment, she seemed to hear a slight movement. Lin Ruoshi drowsily opened her hazy eyes. Her drowsy look made her exquisite features even more beautiful. Lin Ruoshi quietly looked at Yang Cheng standing in front of her, as if she was confirming whether she was dreaming or not. "Did I wake you up?" Yang Cheng asked apologetically with a smile. After a long silence, Lin Ruoshi quietly sat up and turned her head to look at the clock hanging on the wall. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. "I fell asleep watching TV. I'm going up to sleep." Lin Ruoshi secretly looked at Yang Cheng. Seeing that he was fine, she calmly said and got up to go upstairs. But because she had curled up for a long time, one of her legs was squeezed. Just as she was about to stand up, her entire leg went numb. She was already a little dizzy. Her legs were weak, and Lin Ruoshi was about to fall onto the coffee table in front of the sofa. Yang Cheng quickly reached out to hold Lin Ruoshi's arm and leaned her against his chest to prevent her from falling. "Look at you. Why are you in such a hurry? If you want to sleep on the sofa, why don't you cover yourself with a blanket? Don't you know that you will catch a cold?" Yang Cheng said with a smile. As soon as she leaned against Yang Cheng's chest, Lin Ruoshi smelled a masculine scent. Her heart slightly softened, and her face blushed. However, Lin Ruoshi's sharp senses soon picked up the scent of perfume that only women would have on Yang Chen's body. Because he had been in Xiang Wei's room for a long time, and he had sat with Xiang Wei for a long time in the car, there was naturally a lot of body contact. Yang Cheng didn't feel much of the remaining scent on his body, but as a woman, Lin Ruoshi smelled something strange. The trace of sweetness that she had just now disappeared immediately. Lin Ruoshi felt a burst of bitterness in her heart. She bit her lower lip, and her eyes were a little misty. This guy, I stayed up late at home alone to wait for him, worried that something would happen to him, but he actually had fun with other women outside. "Let me go. It's none of your business," Lin Ruoshi said coldly. Yang Cheng didn't understand what he had done wrong again. Why did this woman suddenly get angry when she was just fine and made him feel warm? When these words came out, the tone was as cold as the winter. Yang Cheng had to let go of Lin Ruoshi's soft body that exuded a strong and fresh body fragrance. He smiled stiffly as he watched her walk to the stairs step by step. "If I come back so late in the future, you don't have to wait for me. I'll be fine. You're too tired," Yang Cheng said with some distress. Lin Ruoshi held the railing of the stairs and said without turning her head, "Don't be narcissistic. I said that I fell asleep watching TV. No one waited for you." "You fell asleep watching TV? You still remember to turn off the TV?" Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. This excuse was too lame. What was there to be shy about? Lin Ruoshi stopped and turned her head back. Her eyes were a little red. She sneered and snorted as if she was mocking herself. "That's right. I'm stupid. I don't even know how to lie to you. What am I? What is this place? You have women outside, but I'm nothing in your eyes. You have a lot of women, and people want to spend the night with you. When you want to come back, you come back. When you want to leave, you leave. Even if you spend the night outside, you don't say a word. You don't even make a phone call. Why did I wait for you? I'm stupid. I know that I'm nothing in your eyes. I'm nothing. Why would I do such a stupid thing? Don't worry. I won't lie to you in the future, because I won't wait for you here like a fool like tonight." After she finished speaking, Lin Ruoshi resolutely turned around and walked up the stairs with difficulty. Yang Cheng stood in the same place. Lin Ruoshi's words made him a little confused. Go back when you want to, looking at the back of the exhausted figure walking up the stairs step by step, Yang Cheng suddenly felt a strong sense of uneasiness and fear. It was as if Lin Ruoshi wasn't walking to the second floor of the villa, but a parallel line that would never intersect. "Wait, Lin Ruoshi, stop right there," Yang Cheng shouted. Lin Ruoshi's figure paused, but she didn't turn around. She just stopped in the middle and remained silent. Ever since they got married, this was the first time Yang Chung called her by her full name. He called it so seriously. Yang Chung took a deep breath and said, "Lin Ruashi, if I come back late next time, I'll definitely call. Although, I'm not used to having someone wait for me at home. Also, in order to not let that person wait for me, I have to make a phone call. If I come back late, I have to explain why. For me, it's still very difficult, because I haven't had such a habit in the past 20 years. So I neglected it. I hope you can understand me. But in the future, if I come back late, I'll make a phone call and explain the reason. This home is not a person who is nothing to me. It's not a place that is nothing to me. Absolutely not." Lin Ruashi raised her head slightly and ran upstairs without saying a word. She ran back to her bedroom and closed the door. Yang Chung let out a long sigh and forced a smile. He turned around and looked around the living room. After a while, he turned off the lights and went upstairs to rest. The next morning, Yang Chen's charge phone on the bedside table vibrated early in the morning. Yang Chun picked it up casually and put it to his ear. "Good morning, hubby. I hope I didn't wake you up." It was Chiang Wei who greeted him timidly. Yang Chun closed his eyes and smiled. "You already know the answer. How's the situation?" With Secretary Fong and Chief Kai's cooperation, and Dongxing losing so many important hall chiefs and branch chiefs, the attack last night was actually meaningless. Zhou Guangyin didn't even have time to resist. But in the end, when we went to his house, there was something strange. "How strange?" Yang Chung asked lazily. Chiang Wei said, "Chief Kai and I went there together. We saw that Zhou Guangyin was killed before we arrived. He was shot in the head, and the way he died was very strange. He was kneeling on the ground. What about other aspects?" Yang Chung didn't care too much. Zhou Dongcheng ran away with some of his confidants, so we couldn't catch him. But because the military's lockdown will only last until this morning, it'll be harder to catch him. Chiang Wei said with some regret. "It's okay. He's not an ambitious person. We don't have to deliberately make things difficult for him. We just need to take some precautions." "I think so too. So I asked my subordinates to clean up the mess and ignore him." Chiang Wei said casually. "Hubby, you go back to sleep. I'm going to work. Don't be too tired. You can give some things to little Zhao and Rong Rong to do. Once you get those elites back, you should let them get some benefits. After all, it's not good to be a spy." After hanging up the phone, Yang Chung didn't have the mood to sleep anymore. It happened to be the weekend. Yang Chung planned to go to the hospital to visit Yuan Yi after breakfast. After all, this was the most important thing at the moment. When he went downstairs, Mother Wong had already put a hot breakfast on the table. They ate rice this morning because there were a lot of cold and hot dishes on the table. Yang Chung saw that Lin Ruashi hadn't come downstairs. He wondered if that girl was still angry and refused to see him. But there was no other way. If he trespassed into someone's boudoir, it would be unbearable. "Son-in-law, you came down. You came back very late last night. You're safe and sound. Miss and I were very worried about you," Mother Wong said with a comforting smile. Yang Chung asked doubtfully, "Mother Wong, what do you mean?" After breakfast yesterday, the second Miss of the Kai family called and asked Miss not to go out. She said that Zhonghai was not safe last night. But you didn't come home and you couldn't get through the phone. We were very worried that something happened to you," Mother Wong said. Yang Cheng's thoughts turned over. He thought of how Lin Ruashi curled up on the sofa last night. He felt ashamed. She should be angry at him. Not only did she wait for him, but she was also worried about him. "Son-in-law, look at the dishes on the table. You didn't eat much last night. I heated most of them this morning. Son-in-law, you should eat more." Wang Ma passionately scooped a full bowl of rice for Yang Chun. Originally, it was supposed to be a welcoming dinner for young master last night, since he just got home. Miss even specially made a dish for you for the first time, but Miss said it didn't look good, so she didn't eat a single thing. Yang Chang thought he heard wrong. "Ruashi cooked?" "Yes, it's this plate of lettuce." Wang Ma pointed at the plate of salted lettuce that had turned yellow. Because of the sesame oil, after one night, the lettuce seemed to stick together. "Young master, do you want to try it?" Yang Chung smiled and nodded. The image of Lin Ruashi cooking clumsily in the kitchen appeared in his mind. He couldn't help but laugh. He took a big mouthful of rice with his chopsticks. He didn't care about the taste anymore. He just ate and smiled. Son-in-law, how is the taste? Will Miss have potential in cooking in the future? Mother Wang asked with a smile. Yangqing only cared about eating. He couldn't be bothered to speak. He just nodded his head vigorously. After a while, 2 big bowls of rice were down. Yangqing was almost full. Seeing that Lin Ruoxi didn't come downstairs, Yangqing told Mother Wang that he was going to the hospital to see a patient and went out first. After Yangqing left, Lin Ruoxi quietly walked down from the 2nd floor. She walked to the dining table and looked at the plate that Yangqing only had a few pieces of lettuce left. She was a little lost in thought. Mother Wang smiled meaningfully. Miss, it seems that young master is very satisfied with the dishes you made. He only ate what you made. Lin Ruoxi blushed unnaturally. She curiously picked up her chopsticks and picked up a piece of lettuce. She carefully put it in her mouth. Oh, pa. Lin Ruoxi frowned and stomped her feet. She said resentfully, it's so salty. Did that heartless guy grow up eating salt? Mother Wang saw Lin Ruoxi's angry but happy face. She couldn't help but snigger. Chapter 229. When he arrived at the hospital, Yangqing noticed that the number of bodyguards surrounding the hospital had doubled compared to yesterday. It was obvious that the Yuan family was worried that Zhou Guangyin would act in desperation and use various methods to harm the people they cared about, so they strengthened their defenses. However, no one would have thought that Zhou Guangyin would suddenly die in his own home. Although he didn't know who did it, based on Yangqing's experience with these matters, he deduced that it was most likely someone from Dongxing. When he arrived at the entrance of the ICU, there were already a few people sitting there. The only person Yangqing knew was Yuan Ye's mother, Yang Jiu. Yang Jiu saw Yangqing and stood up with a smile. You came to see little Yi so early. As his mother, I want to thank you for your concern. I don't have many friends, but he is one of them. I have to care about him. Yangqing didn't rush in. Yang Jiu gave off a special feeling, which made Yangqing want to know more about her. Yang Jiu asked curiously, I've never heard little Yi mention you before. Are you a new friend? I was overseas before and just came back this year. We became friends through Tang and playing games. Yangqing didn't hide it. When Yang Jiu heard Yangqing say that he was overseas before, her pupils contracted, but her expression didn't change. So that's how it is. Little Ye's father doesn't really support his career in video games, but I've always listened to him. It seems like it helped a lot. At least I made a trustworthy friend like you. Maybe I'll go in and take a look. Yangqing sensed Yang Jiu's strangeness and didn't say anything else. When he entered the ward, the doctor and a few nurses were checking Yuan Ye's data. Tong's eyes were swollen. It was obvious that she didn't sleep much last night. She stood by the bed and looked at Yuan Yi worriedly. Doctor, how is brother Yuan Yi? His heartbeat is normal. He should be fine, right? Tang asked. The doctor took the form from the nurse and looked at it carefully for a while. He smiled in relief. It's okay. His willpower is very strong. All the indicators are normal. I think he will wake up tonight at the latest. Really? Tong's eyes were filled with surprise. Do you think the doctor would lie to you, silly girl? Tang turned around and saw that Yangqing had suddenly walked in. Disregarding the occasion, she pounced on him happily and hugged Yangqing tightly as she shouted, Uncle! Brother Yuan Ye is fine. It's fine now. Yangqing reached out and patted Tong's back. From the corner of his eye, he saw Yuan Yi on the bed. Suddenly, he saw Yuan Yi slowly opening his eyes. Hey, little girl, look who's awake. Yangqing gestured to the back with his eyes. Tang turned around abruptly and saw Yuan Yi grinning at her, but it seemed like he had no energy left in him. Tang covered her mouth with one hand and widened her eyes as if she had seen an unbelievable scene. She cried tears of joy. The doctor and a few nurses quietly walked out with tacit understanding. Yangqing also finally felt truly relieved and walked out of the ward. This pair of youngsters deserved this period of private time. After he walked out of the ward, Yuan Hui happened to rush over with a group of people. Seeing that Yangqing was also there, he greeted Yangqing in a friendly manner. The battle last night was very beautiful. The Yuan family and the Fong family didn't expect President Xiang Wei of the Red Thorn Society to be so skillful. Although the government and the military cooperated, us old fellows still lost. We really should thank you for your help. Yuan Hui praised sincerely. Yang Cheng shrugged. This should be said to Xiang Wei. I didn't do anything. No, I think other than you, no one else can make Xiang Wei trust him unreservedly and fight with us. Yuan Hui said with deep meaning in his eyes. Yang Cheng didn't think that it would be difficult for these people to investigate his relationship with Xiang Wei, but he didn't care. What's the situation with the Su family? Yang Cheng asked. Yuan Hui looked a little worried. Su Jihong is far more cunning than we thought. Yesterday afternoon, he already left Zhonghai with a group of family members and confidants. If I'm not wrong, he must have gone to Zhonghai through special illegal means. It's impossible to capture him. Now that all of the Su family's businesses are empty, we have decided to buy all of the important businesses. However, a large amount of the Su family's assets were transferred by Su Jihong to a Swiss bank account abroad in the shortest time possible. The government and the military can't track or freeze it. Yang Cheng frowned. In other words, Su Jihong was carrying a large amount of assets and could make a comeback at any time. Although this wasn't good news in the short term, this troublemaker shouldn't affect his life, so Yang Cheng couldn't be bothered to pay more attention to him. This time, the series of events caused by Yuan Ye's birthday finally subsided. Yuan Hui and his wife were anxious to see their son, so Yang Cheng didn't stay any longer and left after saying goodbye. Walking to the entrance of the hospital, just as Yang Cheng was about to turn around and go to the parking lot, he didn't expect to meet someone he knew. He saw Li Jingjing, who was wearing a beige sweater and a gray-white checkered knee-length skirt, supporting old Li, who didn't look too good, and walking in his direction. Li Jingjing, who he hadn't seen in a long time and hadn't contacted, looked a little haggard, but she exuded a more mature and intellectual aura. Walking from afar, her feminine curves and delicate, unadorned face attracted the furtive attention of many passers-by. Ever since Old Li told the truth from the bottom of his heart that he didn't want Yang Cheng to hold up Li Jingjing's future, Yang Cheng silently created a wall between him and Li Jingjing, not allowing himself to think about her. However, seeing this girl who was once so intimate with him, who could now be considered a woman, Yang Cheng still couldn't hide the longing and comfort in his heart. Old Li and Li Jingjing also saw Yang Cheng at the door. Old Li was a little surprised and happy, but Li Jingjing looked at Yang Cheng with a complicated expression, then lowered her head. Little Yang, I didn't think you'd be here too. Are you not feeling well? Old Li asked. No, I'm just visiting a friend. Old Li, are you not feeling well? Yang Cheng didn't look at Li Jingjing and greeted Old Li with a smile. Old Li sighed. I'm old and my bones aren't good. It's a problem with my lumbar intervertebral disc. Since Jingjing doesn't have to go to school in the morning on Saturday, Jingjing brought me here to have a look. Take care of your body. Don't overwork yourself. This illness is not a big deal. Yang Cheng took out his phone and looked at the time. I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. Next time, if there's a chance, I'll treat you to a drink. Old Li didn't want to keep Yang Cheng any longer, nodded and said goodbye to Yang Cheng. Seeing Yang Cheng directly walk away, from the beginning to the end, not even looking at her, let alone saying half a word, Li Jingjing's eyes were a little red, bit her lower lip, and remained silent. Old Li noticed his daughter's strange behavior and sighed. Jingjing, Mom and Dad are doing this for your own good. Little Yang is a good person, but he's not someone you should like. Li Jingjing's eyes revealed a bit of pain and unwillingness, but vaguely, there were a few traces of a strange light flickering. On the other side, Yang Cheng returned to the car, closed his eyes for a while, and shook his head to shake off Li Jingjing's gloomy expression from his mind. Just as he was about to start the car, his phone vibrated. Looking at the number carefully, it was an unfamiliar number, but Yang Cheng still picked it up. Excuse me, is this Mr. Yang Cheng? On the other side of the phone was a somewhat unfamiliar man with a slightly neutral voice. Yang Cheng furrowed his brows. Zhou Dongcheng. The voice on the other side immediately giggled, a man using a woman's laughter, and it was quite lifelike. "Please call me Chanel, Mr. Yang Chung. I'm so happy that you can actually recognize who I am." Chanel was very excited. Yang Chung smiled. "You're really bold. With your brain, you should know that the mastermind behind last night's large-scale attack was me, right? Don't tell me you want to expose your whereabouts." "I know Mr. Yang wouldn't care about a weak woman like me, so I was very relieved to find your number and call you." "What's the matter?" Yang Chung laughed in his heart. "This guy is indeed smart. I really have no interest in killing him, not even the interest of cutting the weeds at the roots. I'm going abroad soon. I hope to see you before I go abroad. Just think of it as sending me off before I go abroad. Give me some comfort. Is that okay?" Yang Chung was silent for a while, then sighed. "Say it, where? Choose a place that you think will be safe." Chapter 230. After a quarter of an hour, Yang Chung arrived at the place that Chanel had chosen as the safest. This was a revolving restaurant located in the center of Zhonghai. It was located at the top of a tall building. From here, one could see most of Zhonghai City. He couldn't help but admire this guy's courage. Once he was discovered in a place like this, there was no way he could escape. If the police sealed off the building, he wouldn't be able to escape even if he had wings. Of course, if he planned to blow up the building, using a hostage as a cover was also a good choice. After entering the restaurant, Yang Chung immediately saw the graceful figure sitting by the window, looking out at the city's scenery. Although this description was a bit weird, Yang Chung had to admit that Zhou Dongqing Chanel's side was more pleasing to the eye than his male side. Chanel was wearing a Northern Ireland-style red and black skirt, a lady's hat with a flower feather, a new Gucci handbag, and a wig with amber curls like Irish girls. His skin was white, and his eyebrows were bright. With this kind of attire, no one could tell that he was actually a man. Many of the men in the restaurant were already casting fiery gazes at him. After Yang Chung sat down, Chanel gave him a charming smile. "Sir, what would you like to order?" A delicate waitress came over and asked Yang Chung. Chanel said, "Give this gentleman a cup of Blue Mountain, with milk and no sugar." Yang Chung watched the waitress walk away and said with a smile, "Why did you order for me? I'm going abroad, and I hope to see the man I admire drink a cup of coffee that suits his temperament. Can't you agree to such a small request?" Chanel said bitterly. Yang Chung reached out and stopped her and said with a headache, "What did you say? The man you admire?" "Yeah, since it's already like this, I won't drag it out. Yang Chung, I've actually liked you for a long time." Yang Chung touched his forehead with one hand. He felt that he had difficulty breathing. In his life, he had heard all kinds of women say they had feelings for him and liked him. However, this man in front of him, who was more feminine than a woman, said he liked him. Yang Chung couldn't accept it. "Aren't you afraid that I'll run away?" Yang Chung smiled bitterly. "No, you'll at least leave after drinking the coffee," Chanel said confidently. Yang Chung felt uncomfortable and didn't know what to say. He looked out the window at the bustling city traffic and didn't say anything more. Chanel pursed her lips and smiled. "Do you know, the first time I noticed you was when you saved Secretary Fong's daughter from a car accident on the road. I was the one who arranged that incident, and I was watching everything from nearby. That heroic act of saving a damsel in distress made my heart flutter. After that, in order to investigate you, I arranged for a few people in that car to follow you, but I didn't expect that those experts were all killed by you in the suburbs. The car exploded, and not even their bones were left. At that time, I felt that you were like Superman. Later, at Maple Forest Sports and Leisure Center, you were smoking while playing tennis. You don't know how charming you were, especially when you hit the ball out of the court. Although I was exhausted, I felt that it was the most beautiful tennis match I've ever played." Yang Chung felt goosebumps all over his body. He smiled stiffly and said, "Can we change the topic? You can't be saying this to me, right? I know you won't accept my feelings, so I'm just telling you what I think. I feel much better now." Chanel rolled her eyes at Yang Chung with a hint of bitterness. If an outsider saw this, they would think that Yang Chung had heartlessly abandoned a beauty. "You killed your dad, right?" Yang Chung suddenly said. Chanel was stunned and finally became serious. She looked at Yang Chung strangely. "How did you know?" "I guessed it. You went against your dad at the banquet. Now that your dad is dead, and he died in the hands of his own people, you still have the leisure to come here and confess to me. The person I want to kill him is most likely you, the son that he would never guard against. Yangqing also just thought of this. Wrong. It's not a son. It's a daughter, Chanel corrected him. Yang Chung smiled, took a sip of the bitter blue coffee, and said, All right, Miss Chanel, although I don't know why you hated your father to the point that you wanted to kill him at a time like this, I still have to thank you. If you didn't kill Zhou Guangnian from the inside, the battle last night wouldn't have been so easy. Chanel sneered, and a hint of viciousness appeared in her eyes. Yang Chung, do you know why I don't like men dressing up, and why I like to think of myself as a woman? Why? Yang Chung was also curious about this. Because of my mother, Chanel squinted her eyes and said, My mother's the most gentle, kindest, most beautiful person in the world, and the person who loves me the most. Ever since I could remember, only my mother raised me. At that time, we lived in the countryside. That old fox, Zhou Guangnian, for the sake of his underworld business, only came back to find us when I was 13. But he only wanted me because he and his lovers only had daughters. He didn't need a daughter. He wanted a son to be his successor, but he despised my mother for working day and night to raise me. He needed a beautiful woman who could give him a sense of achievement. So he hid it from me and made my mother commit suicide by drinking poison. Listening to Chanel's narration, Yang Chun could feel the dense hatred in his heart. That kind of hatred couldn't make people feel afraid. It only made people feel that he was incomparably pitiful, lonely, and helpless. This is the reason you killed your father? Yang Chung somewhat understood that Zhou Guangnian's mentality was indeed twisted. Isn't that enough? He always thought that I was too young and didn't understand these things. But he didn't know that I secretly saw and heard the things he did to my mother. But I was still young, I couldn't win against him. So I chose to come to Zhonghai with him and became the young master of Dongxing. But the more he wanted a son, the more I wouldn't give him one. I'm so beautiful. Why can't I be a woman? From then on, my biggest wish was to be a beautiful woman like my mother. Chanel flipped her wavy hair, and in an instant, her charm attracted the fiery gazes of the men in the restaurant. Smiling arrogantly, Chanel lazily raised her coffee cup and took a small sip. See, I did it. I'm so charming. What do you plan to do next? Go abroad. Yang Chung felt that this girl in front of him was quite creative. He was a little impressed by Chanel's straightforwardness and decisiveness. Chanel said with longing, Yes, with the help of you, I killed Zhou Guangnian and made him kneel in the direction of my mother's burial to atone for his sins. Do you know how relaxed I was at that moment? I've been waiting for that moment for so many years. Next, I'll leave Huaxia and go to a place where no one can find me. When everything calms down, maybe I'll come back. But who can say for sure, Mr. Yang Chung? Let me tell you something. Women are fickle. Yang Chung smiled bitterly. He had a deep understanding of this saying, but he didn't need Chanel to tell him. When Chanel left, he didn't let Yang Chung send him off. According to him, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold back his tears, so Yang Chung was glad that he didn't follow. It was almost noon. Yang Chung drove back to the Dragon Garden Villa. To be honest, it had been too long since he had a meal with Lin Ruoshi and Mother Wang. He missed them a lot. But when he got out of the car, Yang Chung noticed that there was a yellow Audi TDS parked on the side of the road. Yang Chung didn't think that this car belonged to Lin Ruoshi. Although this was a very cost-effective car, it was relatively cheap, so it definitely wouldn't be in Lin Ruoshi's garage. And the person who would come here to visit Lin Ruoshi, other than Zhang Xinlin, who had been beaten to a pulp by Lin Ruoshi in the business world and kicked out of Zhonghai, there was no one else. Most people who drove this kind of car were women, so Yang Chung was very curious. He opened the door and walked into the living room. Indeed, there was a guest sitting on the sofa with Lin Ruoshi. They were holding white porcelain teacups and chatting happily. Seeing Yang Chung enter, the two girls looked over. Yang Chung slapped his forehead. Why was she here? Chapter 231. The person who came was none other than Choi Yun, who always caused trouble for Yang Chung, Bureau Chief Kai. But today, Choi Yun wasn't wearing her police uniform. She was wearing a white knitted jacket with a wide collar that revealed the snow-white skin on her chest, bringing a bit of autumn and winter sexiness. A pair of plump and slender legs were wrapped in a pair of jeans. She had short hair as usual, but because she was wearing a pair of light brown sheepskin high-heeled boots, her temperament was no longer that of a heroic policewoman, but more like an independent white-collar worker in the city. Compared to Lin Ruoshi's simple and casual home attire, Choi Yun seemed to have meticulously dressed up, making her appearance, which was originally inferior to Lin Ruoshi, seem to be on par. Bureau Chief Kai, you're really a rare guest, a rare guest. Yang Cheng's smile was a bit unnatural. He was worried that Choi Yun was looking for trouble with him again. It was a Sunday, and he didn't want to go to the police station to record a statement. When Choi Yun saw Yang Cheng's guarded eyes, there was a bit of imperceptible disappointment on her face. She calmly smiled and said, I'm here to talk to Ruoshi about Gao Guoxiong. Yang Cheng carefully thought about who Gao Guoxiong was. It was the Singaporean businessman who tried to harm Lin Ruoshi in the middle of the night the day before yesterday. He was still being detained at the police station. What's wrong? What crooked method did he think of again? Yang Cheng wouldn't let go of that disgusting man who wanted to harm his woman. Because of what happened in the morning, Lin Ruoshi's attitude towards Yang Cheng was slightly better. She gently said, he wants his lawyer to sue me. Yonyan is discussing the legal procedures with me. Sue you? Yang Cheng angrily slammed the sofa. If I don't let him be shot immediately, it's letting him off easy. If he dares to sue you, I'll kill him in prison. Lin Ruoshi saw that Yang Cheng was so angry and her heart was filled with sweetness. However, her face was still cold as she said, what nonsense are you spouting? Killing people in prison? Do you think this is a sci-fi movie? Choi Yun looked at Yang Cheng strangely. Through some of the previous events and conversations with her sister, she had a general understanding of Yang Cheng. She had a feeling that if Gao Guoxiong really dared to sue Lin Ruoshi, he might really die in prison. Don't worry. Gao Guoxiong wanted to sue Ruoshi, but his lawyer rejected him. Now that he wants to sue Ruoshi, he will have to hire another lawyer. But he is a Singaporean businessman, and the case is so obvious. Who in China would be willing to help him? Choi Yun smiled. Then why did his lawyer in Singapore refuse? Yang Cheng was puzzled. Choi Yun was slightly surprised. Don't you know? Your wife is a super rich woman. Yonyan, that sounds so bad. Lin Ruoshi's pretty face blushed as she twisted Choi Yun's arm. Yang Cheng thought for a moment and couldn't help but say, Darling Ruoshi, did you bribe his lawyer? Lin Ruoshi was a little embarrassed. Being called that by Yang Cheng in front of Choi Yun, she didn't dare to raise her head. Lawyers also have to eat. I pay more, so of course he listens to me. You're playing with Gao Guoxiong. Yang Cheng smiled. After all, Lin Ruoshi could have found another lawyer, but she just had to snatch Gao Guoxiong's. Gao Guoxiong must have vomited blood in his jail cell. Who asked him to betray my trust in him? RULA International has been working with him since my grandmother's time. Lin Ruoshi said angrily. Yang Cheng thought of a saying. In this society, only with money can you win a lawsuit. The three of them chatted for a while, and Mother Wong finally finished preparing lunch. She slowly brought the dishes out. Choi Yun and Mother Wong were also familiar with each other, so she went to the kitchen to help bring the dishes out. Miss Kai, please don't do it. Since you're here, you're a guest. How can we trouble you? Mother Wong said politely. Choi Yun smiled and said, I don't have the guts to let Mother Wong be tired alone. Look at what you're saying. I'm just one person. Why can't I be tired? Mother Wong said with a smile. Choi Yun whispered in Mother Wong's ear. Mother Wong, has that person ever come back? When Mother Wong heard that person, her expression became slightly unnatural. She said bitterly, Miss Kai, some things are in the past. Just pretend that nothing happened. I'm old, and my memory isn't very good. Choi Yun nodded obediently. Women are always wronged when it comes to these kinds of things. This sentence seemed to be talking about Mother Wong, but it also seemed to be talking about herself. Choi Yun was also confused. Seeing Choi Yun and Mother Wong talking amiably and walking around the kitchen and dining room, Yang Cheng looked at Lin Ruoshi. Baby Ruoshi, look at how sensible Director Kai is. You're also a woman, so you should go and help Mother Wong. Lin Roashi didn't seem to have such a habit. When she heard Yang Cheng's words, she said somewhat unhappily, "Why don't you go yourself?" "Because I'm a man," Yang Cheng said. "TSK, male chauvinism," Lin Ruashi muttered, but she still stood up and went to help Mother Wong with the bowls and chopsticks. Yang Cheng was slightly stunned. Did she listen to him just now? During lunch, the four of them sat together and didn't talk much. Because they didn't drink, they finished their meal quickly. In the afternoon, Choi Yun still had to go back to the police station to work overtime. After all, Dongxing had just been razed to the ground, and many of the underground order in Zhonghai had to be reestablished. The cooperation between the government, the police, and the Red Thorn Society was still ongoing, so Choi Yun would be relatively busy. When they were going out, Choi Yun hesitated for a moment and said, "Yang Cheng, can we talk in private?" Yang Cheng was just about to go upstairs for an afternoon nap. When he heard Choi Yun's question, he nodded. Lin Ruashi had just said goodbye to Choi Yun. When she saw that Choi Yun and Yang Cheng were going to talk without her, she had some doubts in her eyes. However, she didn't think much of it and helped Mother Wong clear the table. Although her actions were very clumsy, it made Mother Wong extremely happy. Yang Cheng and Choi Yun walked out of the house and asked, "Bureau Chief Kai, did I get into trouble again?" Choi Yun's expression was gloomy as she said faintly, "Yang Cheng, although we had a lot of unhappy times in the past, I can sincerely apologize to you. I know that I have wronged you. So, seeing that we have been through life and death together, and I am Ruashi's good sister, can you accept me?" "Accept you?" Yang Cheng smiled dryly. "Bureau Chief Kai, what do you mean?" Choi Yun seemed to feel that her words were ambiguous, and her face turned slightly red. "I mean, can you call me by my name? Don't always call me Bureau Chief Kai. It sounds very distant." "I see." Yang Cheng felt that Choi Yun was sincere. It was a little cruel to keep talking to her at a distance. "All right, then I will call you Choi Yun." "Thank you." Choi Yun's eyes lit up. "Then we are friends, right?" "Yes, friends." Yang Cheng suddenly felt that this woman was quite cute. If it wasn't for her family background, she probably wouldn't have become a bureau chief. After all, she was a little too innocent. Choi Yun smiled happily. "I still have to thank you. Thank you for risking your life to save me last time. If it wasn't for you, I might have been shot to death." "Bureau Chief Kai." "Oh no, Choi Yun, you can't say that. I didn't save you. What shooting to death has nothing to do with me." Yang Cheng winked at her. Choi Yun understood and chuckled. "Got it. I will pretend that nothing happened." As if a knot in her heart had been untied, Choi Yun felt much better when she drove the orange Audi away. Just as Yang Cheng was about to walk back into the house, he saw Lin Ruashi walk out with a small black leather bag. She looked around and asked, "Yonyan left?" "Yeah, what's wrong?" "She left her bag on the sofa. She forgot to take it with her." Lin Ruashi frowned and said. Yang Cheng was a little puzzled. Could it be that the woman was so happy that she forgot to take her bag with her? "Check if there's anything important in her bag." "That's not good. How can you go through her bag?" Lin Ruashi said. Yang Cheng smiled bitterly. This girl had a simple and honest look at this time. "If you don't go through it, I will." "No." Lin Ruashi tightened the bag and said cautiously, "Then let me do it. If there's anything important, I have to ask her to come back and get it immediately." After Lin Ruashi looked through the bag, she was a little relieved. There's nothing important like a mobile phone. Get back to her next time, or wait for her to come back and get it. After the two returned to the house, Yang Cheng watched TV for a while and was about to go upstairs to take a nap. However, he saw that Lin Ruashi had changed into a bright white autumn dress and was about to go out with a light brown bag. Seeing Lin Ruashi's outfit, Yang Cheng didn't think that she was going to the company. However, thinking about Gao Guoxiong, he couldn't help but ask, "Where are you going?" Lin Ruashi put on her flat shoes and said lightly, "I have an appointment with someone. I won't be coming back for dinner. You can eat with Mother Wong." Appointment? Yang Cheng was a little unhappy. It was a Sunday. Why didn't she ask him out? When Lin Ruashi was about to go out, she suddenly stopped. She turned around and said to Yang Cheng, "It's a girl." After that, she ran away in panic like a little rabbit. Chapter 232. It was Monday again. Yang Cheng hadn't brought breakfast for his female colleagues in the office for a long time. When he brought a pile of breakfast into the office, he was met with a lot of resentful gazes. This made Yang Chung feel a sense of accomplishment. After chatting with a group of female public relations staff for a while, Yang Chung returned to his seat and turned on his computer. After more than a week, he continued his gaming life. Zhao Hongyan was wearing a black tunic jacket, a gray cotton pleated short skirt, and flesh-colored stockings wrapped around her round and supple legs. She walked gracefully to Yang Cheng's side and stared at Yang Chung with a strange gaze as she chewed on the oily fried dumplings. Yang Chung looked at this beautiful colleague of his from head to toe. He had to say that ever since she got rid of the shadow of her family, Zhao Hongyan was getting more and more radiant. "You're looking at me like that. Don't tell me you're trying to have some fun in the office," Yang Chung said with a smile. Zhao Hongyan rolled her eyes at him and sucked on her oily finger with her pink lips. This posture was very seductive. "Where have you been for so many days? Don't you know that someone in our office is lovesick?" "Lovesick?" Yang Chung looked at her with a faint smile. "Don't tell me you're talking about yourself." "Go to hell." Zhao Hongyan's face was rosy. "Do you know that during the few days you were gone, Sister Mingyu would glance at your empty seat every day when she walked past me? I was the only one who could see it clearly when I got closer." "Lu Mingyu?" Yang Chung laughed in his heart. This woman even said straightforwardly that after that night, she would belong to him and he would be himself. The two of them didn't want anything to do with each other. It seemed like she missed him a lot. However, he had been quite busy recently. To be honest, Yang Cheng's heart was that of a normal man. It was impossible for him to take care of all the women he cared about at all times. He had indeed neglected her. A woman who had kept her chastity for almost 30 years suddenly found a man she could lean on. However, that man disappeared every few days and didn't contact her. Anyone would be upset. "Are you sure it's Sister Mingyu who misses me and you don't?" Yang Chung asked teasingly. Zhao Hongyan's thoughts seemed to have been exposed. Her expression became more and more unnatural, but then she smiled and said, "Yeah, don't you know? I'm a divorced woman now. I'm alone every day, thinking about love until dawn. I'm just waiting for a man to barge into my heart. Do you want to try?" Being glanced at by Zhao Hongyan's charming eyes, Yang Chung felt a little numb. Of Zhao Hongyan seductive, Yang Chung felt a little numb. Yang Chung gulped. "I have the guts, if you dare to open the door." "I dare to enter." Yang Chung wouldn't back down from this kind of thing. His eyes began to unscrupulously sweep over Zhao Hongyan's perky breasts and her thighs without any fat under her skirt. Zhao Hongyan seemed to be unable to resist Yang Cheng's direct and invasive eyes. Her heart thumped wildly. She gritted her teeth and scolded, "Pervert." She covered the back of her skirt and trotted back to her seat. At this time, Lu Mingyu, who was wearing a white one-piece dress and black lace stockings and high heels, walked into the office with a smile. She also had a lavender scarf around her neck, which made her look a little more beautiful and gentle. After not seeing each other for many days, Yang Chung saw Lu Mingyu again. He felt that this woman seemed to have shed a layer of shackles. She had been moisturized by the rain and dew and was even more beautiful and radiant. When Lu Mingyu saw Yang Chung come into work, her expression didn't change much. She simply greeted him and walked back to the office. The colder she was, the more problems there were. Yang Chung quickly stood up with a playful smile on his face. He walked to the door of the office and held the door with one hand, not letting Lu Mingyu close it. Lu Mingyu looked back and saw Yang Chung looking at her with a strange smile. Her lightly made-up face was dyed with a layer of pink, and her eyes were evasive. "What are you doing?" "I have something to report to Department Head Lu," Yang Chung said seriously. "Only a ghost would believe you," Lu Mingyu said in her heart. But in the midst of her internal struggle, she still let Yang Chung enter the office. As soon as the door was closed, Yang Chung immediately locked it. As soon as Lu Mingyu put her bag on the desk, she felt a pair of strong arms tightly hugging her from behind. Lu Mingyu's heart trembled. She turned her head and just wanted to say a few words. Her tender lips were opened, but were kissed by Yang Chung. "Oh!" With a low moan, Lu Mingyu couldn't guard against it. She loosened her teeth and was driven by Yang Cheng's tongue. The two were entangled in a wet kiss. One of Yang Cheng's hand moved up to Lu Mingyu's full chest, stroking and pinching one of the snow-white peaks. His other hand moved along her slender waist, smooth abdomen, and her lower buttocks. The enjoyment of the delicate flesh made Yang Cheng's fire immediately surge. Lu Mingyu felt that Yang Cheng's body and breath were getting hotter and hotter. Her body was soft like a puddle of water, but she didn't have the strength to resist. Her whole body was limp and numb, about to melt. Yang Cheng. Lu Mingyu struggled to break free from Yang Cheng's tongue. She raised her head and let Yang Cheng kiss the sensitive skin on her pink neck. Don't, not here, we'll be found. So what if we'll be found? I don't care, Yang Cheng said jokingly. Lu Mingyu took it seriously and began to push Yang Cheng. You can't do this. Don't you think about me? All right. Yang Cheng was about to laugh out loud. I was just joking and you took it seriously. If we were really found out, wouldn't we become monkeys in the zoo? Lu Mingyu was relieved. She patted Yang Cheng's chest resentfully. You men only know how to bully women. You've been missing for so many days, and the moment you come back, you only know how to take advantage of me. Yang Cheng felt wronged. You're the one who said not to be burdened and to live your own life. Why are you blaming me now? Lu Mingyu was speechless. Her face was full of misery. She pouted and turned her head away. Yang Cheng smiled and gently hugged her. He patted Lu Mingyu's back. All right. You're older than me, but your temperament is like a little sister. I can't even joke with you. It's my fault that I didn't take care of you for so many days. Sigh. I've already said that I'm not a good man, so this isn't cheating. If you take the initiative to contact me, I'll definitely be at your beck and call. I don't want to take the initiative to contact you. Lu Mingyu smiled as she was held in Yang Cheng's arms. Although this guy wasn't a good person, he was honest. She didn't need to worry too much. What she needed was someone to rely on. Yang Cheng took a deep breath of Lu Mingyu's mature, womanly fragrance. There was a bit of desire in his eyes. Mingyu babe, why don't we play an office game? You're not wearing professional clothes today, but it's not bad. At least we can get to the point with a little lifting. Lu Mingyu was no longer a virgin. When she thought of Yang Chen's evil thoughts, she immediately understood what the so-called office games and flipping meant. Blushing, she fiercely pinched Yang Chen's arm. Do you want to die? If someone hears us, I won't be able to face anyone. Then can't you just bite on something and not make a sound? Yang Chen said enticingly. He really hadn't tried fighting a human flesh battle in the office before. Lu Mingyu was determined not to comply. She would never easily let go of this little bit of restraint. She shook her head and refused to agree. Yang Cheng was helpless. He truly liked this woman. Although he liked many women, he wouldn't coerce or force any of them. This was the belief of a man. Although Yang Cheng knew that if he flirted a little, Lu Mingyu might not be able to resist him, he still gave up. Looking at the delicate and charming woman in front of him, Yang Cheng felt that it would be a pity to leave without doing anything. His lips curled into a strange smile. Hugging the back of Lu Mingyu's head, he made her unable to move. Extending his other hand, Yang Cheng quickly pinched Lu Mingyu's nose, making it difficult for Lu Mingyu to breathe. Lu Mingyu was startled. She didn't know what Yang Cheng was doing. She opened her mouth to ask Yang Cheng to let go. But just as she opened her mouth, Yang Cheng's hand that was pinching her nose moved to her lips. 2 fingers entered her mouth. Woo! Lu Mingyu only felt 2 flexible knuckles playfully teasing her soft and tender mouth. Her pink tongue was fiddled back and forth by Yang Cheng. This was a very enjoyable touch. Yang Cheng could feel his fingertips in a warm and moist space, playing with a soft and wriggling, cute little thing. Lu Mingyu's face was flushed. This kind of extremely ambiguous training made her shy, but at the same time, she deeply felt a strange stimulation. A pair of beautiful eyes looked at Yang Cheng with anger, shyness, and confusion, until Lu Mingyu's breathing quickened and she began to cough. Yang Cheng stopped his naughty action and said in an irresistible tone, "Let my fingers dry, then I will take them out." Lu Mingyu obediently sucked Yang Cheng's fingers dry, opened her mouth, and looked at Yang Cheng with eager eyes. Yang Chung withdrew his fingers and patted the beauty's face with satisfaction. Mingyu, baby, it seems that you have a lot of potential in training. If you dare to do this again, I will bite off your fingers. Lu Mingyu pouted and said, You won't. In fact, you like it this way. Yang Chung said with a smirk. Lu Mingyu gritted her teeth and looked at Yang Chung. She lifted her foot and stepped hard, wanted to step on the tip of Yang Cheng's shoe, but she didn't expect that Yang Chung had already moved away. Ouch! Lu Mingyu's foot missed and stepped on the floor. Her heel was sore. You're so bad. Can't you pretend not to see it and let me vent my anger? Lu Mingyu complained. Hee, instinctive reaction, instinctive reaction. Yang Chung immediately wanted to take off Lu Mingyu's shoes and rub them, and at the same time wipe the beauty's fleshy calves, but he didn't expect the phone in his pocket to vibrate. Taking out the phone, Yang Chung was stunned, but he immediately picked up, President Tang, how come you have time to call me? The other person was Tang Wan. Tang Wan was silent on the other end of the phone for a while. Last time, I said that I wanted to thank you and treat you to a meal, but something happened recently, and I was too busy, so I was delayed. Are you free tonight? Yang Chung didn't think that Tang Wan would really treat him to a meal. When he thought of the beautiful, mature woman who made his heart palpitate every time he saw her, Yang Chung didn't have the strength to refuse. If President Tang has time, of course I have time. But forget about the thanks. Just treat it as a free meal. Yang Chung, don't call me President Tang, call me Tang Wan. Tang Wan said softly. Yang Chung suddenly remembered that Choi Yun also asked him not to call her director Kai 2 days ago. It seemed that this woman really didn't have a good impression of his position, so he smiled and said, Okay, Miss Tang Wan. Tang Wan responded happily. Then I'll contact you again when it's time to get off work. I'll hang up first. Bye. Yang Chung hung up the phone and looked up. In front of him, Lu Mingyu was already staring at him with a murderous gaze. Another woman has been defiled by you. Lu Mingyu asked with a sneer. Yang Chung scratched the back of his head. How can this be called defiled? You know I'm very pure, and I've always been defiled by women. Lu Mingyu rolled her eyes at him, turned around and walked back to her seat angrily. You can go out now. Yang Chung knew that when a woman was jealous, it was best to stay away, so he obediently walked out of the door, and before closing the door, he gestured to make a phone call. Baby Mingyu, remember to be on call. Seeing that Lu Mingyu picked up the pen holder and was about to throw it at him, Yang Chung hurriedly shut the door. Chapter 233. When it was almost time to get off work, Tang Wan called again and asked Yang Chun to meet her at a small street in the east of Zhonghai City. Although Yang Chun had never been there before, he could easily find out the location by checking the map on the internet. Thus, he hung up the phone while feeling a little excited. Since he couldn't go home for dinner at night, Yang Chung immediately thought of calling Lin Ruoshi and his mother Wang. After all, he had promised Lin Ruoshi that he would call her if he didn't go home in the future. After dialing Lin Ruoshi's cell phone, it was picked up a few seconds later. What's the matter? Lin Ruoshi seemed to be busy and asked simply, Reporting to my wife, I won't be home for dinner tonight. Someone invited me to dinner. Yang Chung smiled. Lin Ruoshi was silent for a moment and asked, It can't be Tang Wan, right? Yang Chung was stunned. How did she know? But thinking about it, it seemed that when Tang Wan invited him to dinner, Lin Ruoshi heard it. After that, she persuaded him not to have anything to do with Tang Wan and even told him to touch other women, but not Tang Wan. Yang Chung didn't intend to hide it. He smiled embarrassedly and said, Yes, since I promised, I have to go. Lin Ruoshi sighed deeply and said, You won't listen to me even once. Is that woman so attractive to you? You can't say that. In fact, I'm just going to have dinner with her. Our relationship won't develop so fast, Yang Chung said with a guilty conscience. To be honest, every time he thought of the night when he hooked up with Tang Wan by the river, Yang Chung still felt a little excited. That day at school, he found that she had a child in high school, which made Yang Chung feel a little regretful because he was interested in Tang Wan, but it was not good to break up her family. However, judging from Tang Wan's behavior later, Yang Chung could basically conclude that Tang Wan must be a single mother. As a result, after Tang Wan took the initiative to express her affection to Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng had more thoughts in his heart. Yang Cheng didn't think that he was a conservative person in the relationship between men and women. He was still very interested in having an ambiguous relationship with such a superb, mature woman. A man who had no idea about Tang Wan either had a unique taste or simply didn't have the guts. Yang Cheng was a normal man and had the guts, so he didn't intend to hide anything. Lin Ruoshi was silent for a while on the phone and said, "Got it, but don't tell me if you don't go home for dinner." "A what?" Yang Cheng wondered. "I will feel disgusted." After Lin Ruoshi finished speaking, she hung up the phone directly. Yang Cheng smacked his lips and smiled bitterly. He wasn't the kind of man who would give up a forest for a tree. Although Lin Ruoshi would despise him again, Yang Cheng wouldn't care too much. In fact, his wife was still not bad. If other people's husbands were to have an affair, they would definitely cry and threaten to hang themselves. At the very least, they would quarrel and talk about divorce. Lin Ruoshi was better. At most, she would give you cold words and ignore you for a while. Life was still going on. It seemed that Lin Ruoshi hadn't completely accepted the concept of him being her husband. As soon as he got off work, Yang Cheng drove to the intersection where Tang Wan had agreed to meet. After stopping the car, Yang Cheng discovered that it was actually an old street in Zhonghai. There were all kinds of classical buildings and the stone Western-style buildings that were full of the 30s. The whole street seemed to be separated from the bustling world of Zhonghai, as if it was another city within a city. After a slight search, Yang Cheng saw Tang, one who had been waiting for a long time. She was wearing a black cropped collar jacket, a white cotton sweater, and a gray short skirt with seductive black lace stockings. She stepped on a pair of bright red crystal high heels. Her long hair was softly spread over her shoulders. Her smooth, oval face was full of the mature charm of an Oriental woman, and her jade-like skin was even whiter than a baby's. Her bright eyes suddenly merged with the quaint buildings on the street behind her. She was like a southern ancient beauty who slowly walked out a scroll. Seeing Yang Cheng, Tang Wan smiled and waved at him. Yang Cheng gulped. His heart was beating faster. Even when he first met Lin Ruoshi, he wasn't this excited. This kind of woman who had been through the baptism of time and seen through the mundane world, the most beautiful thing about her wasn't her appearance, but the temperament she exuded. Especially for a young man like Yang Cheng who had seen too many joys and sorrows in the world. Such a woman was poison. Mature woman, immature woman. You're the abyss that entices me to commit crimes. Yang Cheng screamed in his heart. "You're late. That's not something a gentleman should do," Tang Wan said with a smile. "Do I look like a gentleman to you?" Yang Cheng asked. Tang Wan said thoughtfully, "I almost forgot. Your demeanor isn't that great, but you're a gentleman. You might not be a gentleman, but you're definitely lustful." Yang Cheng knew that Tang Wan was referring to the previous few times they met. There were many times when he brought other women in front of her to provoke her. Obviously, in her eyes, he was definitely a playboy. "Since you're so clear about this, why do you still have the guts to treat me to a meal?" Yang Cheng asked with a wry smile. Tang Wan shook her head slightly. "I've been thinking about this too. When I called you, I kept asking myself, why did you invite that lecherous and fickle guy? Even if he saved your life, there's no need for him to take the risk. But as I thought about it, I've already invited you, so I followed the code of a lady and came to the appointment in good faith." After saying that, Tang Wan pointed to the simple street behind her. "Let's go. I'll treat you to a meal today. You definitely haven't eaten delicacies before." Yang Cheng felt that it was quite refreshing. Compared to the other women he had met, Tang Wan was not the slightest bit pretentious and did not hide her true feelings. Yang Cheng could feel that Tang Wan had a good impression of him, as well as that kind of struggling emotion. Perhaps it was because of her age, but Tang Wan no longer cared too much about a woman's shyness. She didn't care and directly expressed her thoughts. Walking with Tang Wan on both sides of the street, there were small shops and stalls. From time to time, the pedestrians on the street would glance at the two of them. Although the man looked ordinary, the woman was extraordinarily beautiful. Tang Wan didn't talk to Yang Cheng about anything else. She just kept introducing the various shops on both sides of the street, all kinds of historical information and some interesting things about those shops. She would even mention which family's elders had met with something and what their children's current jobs were. Yang Chung asked curiously, "You can't be a resident here, right?" "I'm not, but my grandmother's family lived here. This is also my mother's hometown. When I was young, I liked to play here the most. This is the only preserved old city street in Zhonghai because some of the stone buildings have become cultural relics. I'm very glad that although my grandmother and grandfather are no longer here, and my mother is also no longer here, I can still often come here to reminisce about them," Tang Wan said. Yang Chung couldn't help but say, "Your words don't sound like a mother who is a child in high school. It sounds more like the thoughts of a young girl." Tang Wan covered her mouth and chuckled. "My daughter doesn't like this place. She always felt that this place is lifeless. I told her that she's too young to feel the accumulation of culture here." Talking about her daughter on such an occasion, Tang Wan didn't feel awkward at all. "Then you brought me here. Could it be that you think I can feel it?" Yang Chang said with a smile. "I'm also only in my 20s. "You definitely can," Tang Wan said with certainty. "Why?" "That day at the bank, when you saved me, I saw in your eyes that weren't emotions that a man in his 20s should have. Although it was short-lived, I felt a sense of security." Tang Wan's expression was slightly unnatural as she said, "You're the first man I've met who gave me a sense of security. So, you definitely can read this." The first man who gave her a sense of security? Yang Chung gulped again. Looking at Tang, Wan had already changed the topic and continued to introduce him to the streets. The corner of Yang Cheng's lips curled up slightly. "It seems like there's a chance tonight." After walking through the dark streets that were as long as a corridor of time, the sky was already dark. Yang Chung followed Tang Wan to the entrance of a slightly damaged alley. Nearby, there were only a few old 40-watt light bulbs. Tang Wan brought Yang Chung to a ramen stall and called out to an old man who was pulling noodles, "Uncle Xiao." The man who was called Uncle Xiao raised his head and said with a smile, "Xiaoan, you missed Uncle Xiao so much. You haven't been here for a long time, right?" "Yeah, I've been quite busy recently." "Uncle Xiao, how are you?" Tang Wan seemed to be very familiar with Uncle Xiao and went forward to ask about his well-being. Uncle Xiao and Tang Wan chatted for a while and then looked at Yang Chung with a strange expression. "Xiaoan, aren't you going to introduce Uncle Xiao?" Tang Wan smiled generously and said, "This is Yang Chung, my friend. Today, I specially brought him to eat Uncle Xiao's ramen. I've already said that this is the best thing in Zhonghai. Uncle Xiao, don't reject me. Look at you, you're not young anymore. Is Uncle Xiao's cooking a child's play? But this is not as simple as a friend. In the past, except for your daughter, you've never brought anyone else to eat ramen." Uncle Xiao smiled mischievously. Tang Wan was not shy. "Uncle Xiao, he's not my boyfriend yet, but he helped me a lot last time. I don't think he's too bad, so I invited him to dinner. It's too vulgar to eat in other restaurants, so I came here." Uncle Xiao laughed and said, "Not now, but maybe in the future." Then he winked at Yang Chung and said, "Young man, work hard. Xiaowan is older than you, but I, old Xiao, have never seen a girl who is more beautiful and kind-hearted than Xiaowan in my life. Don't miss this chance." Seeing that Uncle Xiao was helping him and Tang Wan so openly, Yang Chung felt that it was too heroic. But Tang Wan only smiled at the side and did not seem to mind at all. Sitting at an old table with Tang Wan, Uncle Xiao started to pull noodles for the two of them. It wasn't midnight yet, so the stall was very quiet and the surroundings were very empty. Yang Chung looked at Uncle Xiao's back as he pulled the noodles and smiled helplessly. "Why didn't you explain?" "Uncle Xiao must have thought that I'm having an affair with you." Tang Wan poured herself a cup of yellow-green tea and said, "Isn't that what you've always wanted?" Yang Chung was speechless. He smiled bitterly and said, "Tang Wan, you don't have to be so direct. Why do I feel that I'm the prey and you're the hunter? If I count my nominal age, I'm already 38 this year." Tang Wan raised her teacup and took a sip elegantly. Her every move and action seemed abrupt and unconventional with the dilapidated surroundings. "What do you mean?" Yang Chung didn't understand why this woman suddenly mentioned her age. This was something that most women hated for their entire lives. I don't have much time left to play with ambiguity and ambiguity. Tang Wan finished her tea and looked at Yang Cheng with a clear gaze. She said, Yang Cheng, do you want to hear how I feel about you? Yang Chen's knuckles knocked on the table as he nodded. The first time we met, it should be by the river. I was in a bad mood that day and met a blind man like you. You actually want to spend the night with me. What made me angry was that you wore a shirt with diamonds as buttons and told me that you were selling mutton skewers. Although I think that you're a terrible person, I have to say that you're the one that left the deepest impression on me among all the men I've met who wanted to have a one-night stand with me. At the same time, you're also the only one that I haven't taught a lesson to. Yang Cheng didn't say anything and continued to listen quietly. After that, we met at my daughter's school. You actually had a relationship with such an innocent young female teacher. That female teacher was even infatuated with you. I thought you were really bad. After that, we met at my entertainment center. You were together with Mo Chinny. She's such a smart and rational woman, but she actually had feelings for you. It wasn't until you played a set of tennis that I finally understood a little. You're indeed a bad guy, but you're indeed different. I'm a little curious about you. It wasn't until you blocked those robbers at the bank for me that I finally understood why teacher Li and Mo Chinny would choose a bad guy like you. Tang Wan tilted her head and looked at Yang Cheng with a smile. Listen, I'll be straightforward. Because I have feelings for you, I'll say it out loud. Yang Cheng took a deep breath and said, Is this considered a confession of love to me? I've already said that I don't have much time left. In 2 years, I'll be 40. My daughter can even legally get married. In another 2 years, I might even be a grandmother. No matter how much I take care of myself, I'm just an old woman. The smile on Tang Wan's face gradually faded. Unfortunately, the only man I want to have deep contact with is actually a man who's younger than me by more than 10 years. Tell me, how can I not be anxious? Yang Cheng didn't expect Tang Wan to say such words during their first official one-on-one meeting. Just as he was about to say something, he heard Uncle Qiao shouting, The noodles are here, and walking over with 2 big bowls of steaming hot ramen. You still say it's nothing? I see that you guys are chatting quite enthusiastically. What did you guys talk about? You're not allowed to speak ill of Uncle Qiao behind my back. Uncle Qiao was in a good mood. Tang Wan took a sniff of the special smell of the ramen mixed with coriander. Uncle Qiao, Yang Cheng told me that I'm delusional to think that I can get him by relying on a bowl of noodles. Cough, cough. Yang Cheng had just eaten a mouthful of noodles when he coughed. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Why are you slandering me for no reason? When did you get me? Uncle Qiao laughed and said, This ramen indeed can't get a woman. Back then, I relied on noodles to chase after Xiaowan's mother, but in the end, her mother was still married to that rich man by Xiaowan's grandmother. However, Xiaowan likes me more than her dead father. It can be considered a little compensation in my heart. Yang Cheng was stunned. He didn't expect Uncle Qiao and Tang Wan's elders to have such a past. However, as a daughter, Tang Wan actually liked her father's love rival more than her father. This made Yang Cheng feel quite strange. After a few more guests arrived, Uncle Qiao continued to busy himself. Only then did Yang Cheng and Tang Wan start to eat the noodles in peace. Yang Cheng quickly ate a large bowl of noodles and even the soup into his stomach. He comfortably burped. Seeing that Tang Wan was still chewing slowly, he smiled and said, Tang Wan, have you investigated my background? Tang Wan drank a mouthful of soup and shook her head. No. Although I'm interested in your past and background, I hope that you can tell me yourself. I won't investigate. Then you can say that you have a good impression of me. Aren't you afraid that I'll wipe my feet clean after taking advantage of you? Yang Cheng asked. Tang Wan sweetly smiled and said, Then I'll ask you a few questions. You just need to answer me honestly, yes or no. How about it? Yang Cheng touched his face. This date, which was originally filled with all kinds of ambiguous colors, was now like a questionnaire. What made Yang Cheng uncomfortable was that the woman was too proactive. She was so proactive that he was constantly being teased, and the woman was like an arrogant queen, looking at him with ridicule. All right, ask away, Yang Cheng said with a bitter smile.